Hello, hello, and happy Wednesday. Let me make sure this thing is working. Yep, cool. So today we are going to finally finish up the skill tree stuff. I said I wanted to do it yesterday. I got done with most of it. I didn't do the cleanup things. And I don't think this is going to take a while. One of these is just renaming it. This I don't know if I want to do. Yeah, I don't know. Let's look through this. Skill button base to base skill button. We already use base skill button in some places, right? Yeah. So I would change this pretty much everywhere. I'm not certain it's worth it. Hey, Gavino. Woo, let's rip through it. How's it going? I'm going to just not do this. Manifest costs and abilities directly. So right now the trees are doing it. If we were to look at this, we'd see all of this here. What this would change to in the future is something that could be purely data driven if we wanted it to be, where we just have that town perks exist somewhere. In fact, actually, all of these that inherit from this look exactly the same, right? Yeah, so they really don't need to exist this way at all. Okay, so if not that, then get rid of all of the derived classes derived from this, since they can be data driven. Yeah, I think I want to do that. All right, so how does this work right now? There should be one place in the entire game that we see enchanter perks, for example. How do we find that? It's on a scene. Ah, there, perks panel tab. Yeah, so this should be the only place that we look at this. Script. Script is enchanter perks. If we search for enchanter perks, yep, it's only here. Yeah, so that would let us change this, delete every single one of these basically, and just have them get manifested from one spot. And then perks panel tab could set all of these up. Town perks, recycler perks. These all have their own scripts too. Is that what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, I think this is pointless. Yeah, I think it's pointless. I think we can make one of these scenes a player ability tree and then just populate it with the right stuff. Wait, except for that's not how this even works in the first place. They inherit from perk tree costing gold. So we need to construct one of these. Perk tree. There's no scene for this. Yeah, there's no scene for this. So we make a player ability tree with town. I guess in the end, it is just a town perks scene, or the player ability tree scene. Okay, so let's go see if we can do that. Because I think this would simplify quite a lot. And I'm down for simplifying things. So where do we find the trees? In the forest. All right, I guess we'll put it here somewhere. Do we have perks anywhere else? I'll just put it next to perk stuff. Actually, what am I thinking? I should put it next to where the folder structure is. It's in scene scripts. I can't type scene scripts. Oh no, I can. It just doesn't exist anywhere here. What? That's strange. Wow, huh. Not a single. Huh. Okay, well, let's make a new thing then, I guess. Yeah. Public constring player ability tree equals that. Okay, so how do we get this to work? Let's try changing one of them. And if I can change one of them, I can change all of them. So we go over to here. Instead of fetching this from here, we make one. So town perks equals scene functions dot instantiate. It's going to be a player ability tree with town. Cannot implicitly convert type. Hey Flair, you gonna get this stream done in half the time? Yep. Thanks for the resub. Yeah, I read your message on Discord. It's funny because at a high level you can commiserate with the sentiment, which is, hey, we need to get things done faster. Like, why are there inefficiencies? But it's much more complex than just let's get it done faster. It reminds me of a Simpsons episode where I think it's called "You Only Move Once" or something like that, because it was the James Bond parody, and Homer leads a team of people, and he said, "Can you guys just work faster?" And then they all start working faster. He's a brilliant manager. All right, what am I missing here? Scene paths. It's very funny. I love that episode. I think it's so good. It's the one with Hank Scorpio. There are a lot of little gags in that one. Cannot implicitly convert from Treewood Town to Town Perks. This is explicitly a Town Perks. Why? There is no need for that. Yeah, this code's going to get a lot nicer. And we only save this one off? No, we save them all off. But this one's public. Why is this public? Why is this public? There's no reason for that. Huh, interesting. So we can just put this up here now. Private Town Perks equals null. Rename this to Town Perks like that. I wonder why that was the case. Okay, now there's something else we need to do here. And this is the part where all this comes in. Hey, Wendy, thanks for the raid. Thing with The Simpsons is that it contains every joke anyone has ever made. So if you hear a good joke, someone will always tell you it's actually from The Simpsons. Yeah, The Simpsons did it trope. Must make it very tough to be a writer on that show. Wendy, I was looking in your stream for longer than it might have seemed like. And it was nice to see the progress that you've been making. You know, you could call the windmills Windy Mills. Or an advertisement. Oh, okay. Tamao, thank you for the resub. Happy 1/6 of a year. And welcome back. Very generous of you. Oops. Oh God, I typed it wrong. Okay. Sure, everyone appreciates me right now. So I wanna put all of this stuff in one spot, and I'm not totally sure where I want to do this yet. I think here would be a mistake. Should probably make some like perks constants or something, because we have game constants. Yeah, let's just save a perks constants. They're not even really constants. Okay, so this is going to be town perks or something. Public, static, read-only, dictionary, town perks, or town perk data. And then perk ability data comes from over there. And now what's the problem? Use an immutable collection or reduce the accessibility. Is there like read-only dictionary? Yeah, there's. And how do you oh, this is like super obnoxious, right? You need to take a dictionary and then you need to like .2. I don't remember how you do this. I'm Bree. How's it going? Hi, Windy Mills. It's going well. I was saying that I was lurking in your stream for longer than it may have seemed. I was getting done with my morning routine and everything. And I still, you know, one of the opinions we strongly differ on, I thought Ukulele was a terrible game. I thought it had no charm. I thought it wasn't fun. I thought only the first world was well done. And I'm shocked to see that it's mostly positive here. Shocked. Like, this is a game I stopped playing due to being bored to tears. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you have bad taste. End of the day, I think we can all agree Wendy just doesn't know what taste is. So it's an immutable dictionary, and then we do this. Hey, Half. Immutable. Now, what is the problem with this? There's some way to get this to work. Oh, I know. We need to specify that it is a dictionary of these things. Yeah, this is really stupid. I don't like this at all. I think the original Yuka isn't the best. The new one is much better. Oh, yeah, you did mention Yuka Replayly, and I haven't seen that. Is that the one that turned it into 2D? How many quizzes are there? If there are enough quizzes, I think I'd play the game. What made this? Is this just a totally different game? Wow, this only got 400 reviews. Does the studio still exist, Platonic Games? Have they done anything else? Coming soon, okay, they do still exist. What is this game? Requires a base game, Lil Gator game. Oh, this is doing very well, apparently. What is this? Embark on an adorable adventure, discover new friends, and uncover everything the island has to offer. Climb, swim, glide, and slide. Huh, funny. They capitalize swim and glide, but not slide. I always kind of find this funny. Like at some point, correct English probably mattered, and now it doesn't. Yeah, well anyway, this is doing very well. Huh. Oh wait, only published by Platonic. Okay, yeah. I thought it was fun enough, but had lots of issues. I agree First World is best. Yeah, and I feel bad too. I think like a lot of gamers, I really like Banjo-Kazooie. I think Banjo-Kazooie even did better things than Banjo-Tooie. Banjo-Tooie was a little bit more ambitious, and the N64 couldn't really handle it, and there were some rough edges. And I don't know if I'll ever go back and play Tooie and have a lot of fun. I think I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this game. And I still like parts of it. But yeah, I wonder what it's like to recapture that. Even in those days, and I still think about this, there was Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. I don't remember when exactly chronologically Donkey Kong 64 happened, but they were like, okay, we've got a collectathon meter. And for Banjo-Kazooie, it was set to like 7, and for Banjo-Tooie, it was set to 8. For Donkey Kong 64, we're going to set it to 200. And they were like, there's 5 different colors of bananas. You've got 5 different Kongs. You cannot collect a green banana on the wrong Kong. You got to come back here. So every level's 5 times as big, right? It's like, that's the stupidest decision. Much closer to Banjo-Kazooie 1. Yeah, I really like Donkey Kong 64 as well. And I like 102%ed it or whatever it was. But current me would think that I'm insane if I did that. Isn't 400 reviews decent given it's been out a week? It's only been a week? Oh. What am I thinking of then? They made some... Hang on a second. They did a remaster or re-release or something. Okay, I must be thinking, I think there's a totally different game. So this has only been a week? Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There's another Yuka game. Maybe it's this one that I'm thinking of. Was this the 2D one? Yeah, 2.5D. Yeah, this game. And I didn't know how this one did. This one came out 6 years ago and does not have a ton of reviews, though. But I think it's... I don't know. I don't think the first one was great. And that probably led to a bunch of people who were like, not getting burned by this game. It was a different game? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Replayly might actually be good. It's funny because I think one of the... a long time ago, Windy, I was in your stream and we were making these jokes about like, what are things you can say to a game dev that don't sound insulting, but really are? And I think one of the things that I read on Steam every once in a while is like, this game would be great with another 1 to 2 years of bake time. Like, I see this from time to time, and I just keep thinking like, man, as a consumer to be like, put in 2 more years and then I'll play your game and maybe spend $10. But in this sense, it's like, that's what happened with Yuka Replayly, right? Like they put in another, whatever, 5 years. I don't know how long they actually spent. Yeah, sure, maybe 5 years of calendar time passed. But they put in some amount of dev time, and yeah, it's apparently a better game now. But by the way, this was hilarious that day. I remember I was just sitting around chilling when he was riffing on the idea. Remasterable backhanded compliments. The thing is, I don't think they mean it that way. At least not this one. I think there are ways that you could say something like, wow, this game is great other than the graphics or something like that, where it's like, all right, yeah, that kind of sounds like a backhanded compliment. But this needs more bake time, truly is like I'd like to enjoy this game, but I do think it needs more time in the oven. Anyway, welcome to my stream, everybody, where we're going to be working through the to-do list today. What I'm trying to do, and this has not been going very well, I've been trying to keep track of how many characters were on my to-do list at the beginning of the day. So if we click this right now, it's at about 17,000. The goal was to figure out the burn down rate so that over time, if we have time and the number of characters here, you'd see this sort of drop in a way and go up every once in a while, and hopefully I didn't make it go back in time. And we could figure out what's this trajectory. Unfortunately, it's been 2 days and the list has only gone up. But today that changes because we're about to get rid of all this stuff that I've already completed from here and move on to another task. So I'm just wrapping this up. Developer tried harder. Could have been great. Yeah, more quizzes, I think. You know, when you said the thing this morning about how, oh man, a lot of those collectathon games had quizzes, I was like, no, they don't. And then you started mentioning examples and you're like, yeah, Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. I guess it was just the one quiz show in the beginning. And I thought it actually worked there. It was like this zany thing. Oh, there's a boss, but you're actually getting quizzed by the boss. And then what else did you mention? Odyssey, they had the Sphinx. I don't remember this being egregious. I thought it was like one question here and there. And then yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was pretty egregious. Although it was like moderately fun. And then what other games had it? Did you mention? I don't remember. But yeah. Okay. So now we instantiate this init with a whole bunch of things. What do we initialize this with? Town tooltip, town perks, ability data. Town, where's the town? We don't have the town right now. So we can't do this. But we do it in here. Oh, we already initialized it with a town in the tooltip. What? These all inherit from the same thing. I'm a little bit confused. So what did this do? This called in some other init function in perks tree costing gold. It had a title and it had ability data, but all perks doesn't follow that pattern, does it? This one has an init with just a town and a tooltip. So I'm going to run into a problem, right? Hey, Pretzel. I guess what we need here is the title and the ability data, and that this shouldn't exist. Oh God, and it calls into another init. This is not good. Godot supports C#. Yeah. I think it has for a while. Hey, Dozy Burrito. That's actually a paid promotion for the insurance company If. Is that actually a company? I don't think I've ever heard of that, but that's actually a pretty good name for an insurance company. If not, it's a masterful joke by a Pressel. Truly A++. All right, so this last thing we got to figure out is why are there like 7 init functions here? We need there to be a title, but I don't have a title on all perks. But there is an init here, and it could just take in the title, and then it'll match the signature of everything else. Oh man. I haven't even thought about the name. But if it implies if, as you guessed, it's actually genius. I mean, I think it does. I'd be pretty surprised if it didn't. Okay, so we can't override this. Man. This is the task that keeps on giving. So what do we have in here for init? We have a get abilities function, a tooltip, a title. We don't necessarily have the town. And in this case, all perks doesn't, it shouldn't even take in the town. It doesn't use it anywhere. It uses player abilities. Wait, then why? Wait. What? Why did I do things this way then? Oh, that's what I'm asking myself a lot lately. You keep seeing but never put thought into it. Yeah, I suppose so. Town tooltip, town perks, ability data. So we don't pass an ability data here. That's the difference. But this takes in these 3 things. So why don't we just have this be passed in outside of here? I'm going to break so much before I fix this. In fact, the tooltip that we use, is it always the town's tooltip? What do we instantiate this with? Because if so, we don't need to pass that in. No, it's the panel's tooltip. Yeah. Or every once in a while, there's a clever name I guess it's a little bit more cryptic and you don't think about it. Doesn't mean anything in Finnish. No, but think about it. If stands for in Finnish. So it actually does. Adam's gone off his rocker, everybody. He doesn't know what language is. So this is going to cease to exist. This entire class is going to cease to exist. So I guess we don't need to worry about that. But we do need to pass in the data. All right, I'm still like working my way through this. You're always one step ahead of me. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, many times 4. Is this one public or protected? It's public, and it's in perk tree costing gold. But not all of them are perk tree costing gold. Okay, I see. So we have some of them that are, and those should be initialized this way. All right. So we can do dot of type perks tree costing gold and initialize those like so. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna do it. Fill in this title. And then ability data will just say perks constants dot town perk data. Yeah. Good, cool. So there's that. Now what's the problem here? Of type doesn't exist because we don't have link. Then we get the all perks tree and we initialize that in whatever way it wants to be initialized. I guess we don't really need a title for that then, huh, right? This already had all perks there. So it just needs, oh, now it's not overridden. Why do we do this though? Get abilities function, tooltip. I guess it doesn't need to be overridden. So town panel tooltip. And whether or not we pass in the title, I'm not sure what we're gonna do there. So no overload takes, yeah, this is wrong. Needs more quizzes. How many games are launched today with a quiz in them? Also, I was thinking about it was just a joke question, but the whole, is there any excellently done quiz game that then has a collectathon in it? And I think those Jackbox party games are mostly quizzes. I wonder if they do have other games in them. Man, I bought one of those once and we played it with some friends and it was just bad. No one was having fun. So I played the game like once and then never refunded it. I really should have refunded it. Think of how much that money could have grown by now. It'd be like a Futurama-esque situation where it's $1 billion or something. Town perk data. This is a dictionary of perk abilities. And we need what? A dictionary? Yeah. Do we have to do 2 dictionary on this? I don't like that at all. Okay, so now every single one of these is going to be broken. How fun, right? How absolutely fun. I guess we just start deleting them. Yeah, I think we just start deleting them. Okay, well, shouldn't be too bad. Reveal this, delete them all. 1 down. How many more to go? 5? Okay, not too bad. So these are enchanter perks. So we're just going to copy this whole thing and put it down as enchanter perk data. And then copy in all of the actual data in here. Oh, except for that curly brace. So done with that. Now we delete this. Then we do the remaining 4. So it's probably easier to do it this way. Let's go to perk constants and just duplicate this a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need farming, fishing. What? That was weird. Farming, fishing, recycler, and treasure. Playing in a sandbox. Each grain of sand could have been 1 Bitcoin. If only we'd been smarter. If only. I need this over here. All right, so farming, we paste all of these in. Then fishing. then recycler, and finally treasure. Okay, now we go delete every single one of these files. So farming, fishing, recycler, and treasure. Nice. Okay, now we go to perks panel tab and we try running this. This is going to fail. It's going to fail miserably because all these are different now. All right, looking good. And then we instantiate all of these. Couldn't I have just made them all player ability trees and just not populated them with anything? I could have. Should I have? Yeah, I could just have these exist and just not have a script on them. I don't actually know. Yeah, I guess I'll just do it the old way. Sure. Player ability tree with town. But isn't it more than that? Isn't it a costing gold sort of thing? Yeah, this won't technically work because these need to look like this. And then we go change all of these. Wonder if you can do this faster than what I'm doing right now. I only have to do this like 7 times, but still there's probably a faster way. That's 6 times. There we go. Anytime my mind tells me that I should have invested in something earlier, another part thankfully reminds me that as soon as I see outsized returns, I usually take the money out and put it into something stable like an index. Well, and also, those what ifs could just happen infinitely. Every time something negative could have been a positive, it's also something positive that could have been a negative. Got a dash? All right, take care, Wendy. Thanks for the raid. Your game's looking great. I was kidding about the severe marketing. I just want us to be best buds again. All right, so these are going to be player ability tree, or no, perk costing gold. Yeah, that. Okay, let's try it out. You know, I imagine if you did invest in Bitcoin and got like whatever $5 million or something, it'd probably feel like you did something wrong or that you cheated or something somehow. Because it'd be like, how was it? How did that work? Or these are the growing pains figuring this out. Unable to cast player ability to tree with town on what line? Perks panel tab 49. Ooh, whoops. I put the wrong thing. Yeah. All right, fine. Let's do this another 6 times. Thankfully, it's fast. It's going to take another like 10 seconds. There. That's less than 10 seconds. The code is going to be a lot cleaner once we've done this. Okay, so does it work though? Fill in this title and everything's going to show town perks right now. Yeah. So now we just need to do it correctly. All right, how do we want to do that? I mean, I guess we initialize each individual thing with the correct perks that we would have had to the point where we're not even doing this anymore. We're just saying town perks .init, and this says town perks. Then we do that for every single one of them. Come on. There we go. Hey, Ryan. Actually, has anyone claimed first? Oh, yeah, Pressel did. All right, I just want these to match the same order we had here. Town, recycle, fishing, farming, Town, recycle, fishing, farming. Yeah, probably. Probably the rest. Last two are correct too. And then these should match what we used to have. So they were all taken from here. I cannot imagine they're wrong. Town, yes. Garbage slime, yes. Fishing and farming. Yep, and yep. And then enchanter, good, and then treasure. Good, yeah. Okay, all those are the same. And then those all match too. Let's go try that out. Good morning. Good morning to you. Oh, we're getting there. We are getting there. So I want a save file that has everything unlocked. Where are the other signs? Where are the other signs? What's going on here? Why you no show by default? Okay, so now we have every perk tab. Do they all look correct? Town perks, garbage slime perks, fishing perks. Yeah, and we see all the right icons for all of these. Yep, 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 yep. Good. Whoa, what? What are these? Oh, right. I never got the new icons for those. Okay, so that's now working. We deleted a whole bunch of stuff. Is there anything else we can simplify here, I wonder? Oh, what's that? Oh, I see. We should probably get the titles and put those into the localized thing. You need that 2 dictionary? Yeah, but only because of a linting issue. These have to be immutable dictionaries, because if you make them regular dictionaries, then it complains. It says use an immutable collection or reduce the accessibility of the non-private read-only field. So I made them immutable, but then the problem is that, well, I guess I could change maybe that this takes in an immutable dictionary. I wonder if it ever modifies it. Yeah, I guess this could be immutable. Although, yeah, I guess we could just change that. And then we don't need to cast. Perk tree costing gold. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that would work. Good call, ABC. I shall be leaving and leave it as a mystery. All right, enjoy the mystery. I assume it's going to lead to more muscle. All right, and then we just put all of these things into here. So private, const string, town, perks, panel title, tree title. Yeah, there. So this will be town perks, and it can probably fill in the rest for me, right? Yep, 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 yep. No, man, this is what's so nice about AI. Like, I could have done that. It would have been super easy. And it just saves me a bunch of time. So now I can just copy all of these things over to here and put them like so. Oh, this will only sort of work. Yeah, whatever. Let's just do it. Messages.get that. And then delete 2 of the words and then that. And then we just need to delete perks from here because it had an extra word. All right, that'll hopefully work. All right, how are we looking? Town, garbage line, fishing, farming, enchanter, treasure. Nice. A fun time figuring out how gRPC works. Are you liking it now? Hey, Becca. Okay, so let's look at all the changes that I've done and see whether this is a good thing. So we got rid of specific scripts from here. And we put all of the costs into one file. Well, kind of, sort of. I actually did not do that with... Wait, no, I maybe did it with everything. I didn't do it with meta perks. Yeah, maybe meta perks should go in this file too. Where are those? Right here? Yeah, I think I want to put that in there. Okay, let's do that. Perk constants. So duplicate this. And what are these called? Meta perks, I guess. Yeah, I guess meta perks. Okay, meta perk data. And then paste these in. delete that, delete that. And then use that over here. Perk constants dot meta perk data. And delete that. So that is one of the benefits of doing things this way. We now have all of the costs in one location. I wasn't sure which I preferred. Like, let's say there was absolutely no coding difference between these. Would I want costs with the abilities? So when you go look at something like increased hunger, what's it called? Faster hunger. When you look at this, you see here's the hunger bonus, 120%, and you see the cost for that is, 50, let's say. Would I want them there, or would I want them all in one file? And I think having them all in one file probably makes more sense. So I kind of like how that ended up. And then the rest of this code, let's take a look. This is never used, right? Oh, never used. Okay, so then this can be deleted. You can't delete things from here because of that. And this is kind of annoying. Where was that even? It was here. No changed files. What? Revert. Hey, Chef Alton. Yeah, I used your title. Everybody, Chef Alton came up with his stream title. Bricks and Breaks. Okay, I should probably look at how we're setting up our initialize functions. But yeah, this is another nice thing. We've deleted all these standalone files. Well, I guess it's not really nice. It's just a thing. We got rid of that init. Yeah, more files deleted. This stuff apparently isn't needed here. Did this file get smaller? It probably got a lot larger, right? Yeah, 25 lines larger. But part of that's because we need to store the titles somewhere, and I happen to be storing them here. That's like 6 lines. And then part of it is because I am no longer instantiating in a loop. And putting this into a loop wouldn't actually be that bad. But it's also kind of not worth it. Yeah, I don't really care that much. But if we were to do it, we'd keep track of the node path, we'd keep track of the title, and we'd keep track of which data to use. And then we just iterate over all of them. Maybe I'll try that. I don't know. And that's no longer constant. Okay, or no longer public. Everything else looks fine here. There's one other little thing I want to look at. Oh yeah, the inits. Let's go look at those. So we have player ability tree. Does this thing's init function make sense? There's only one. Takes in get abilities, a tooltip, and a title. Sounds pretty reasonable. Then there is player tree with town, and that adds in a town to this. And this is protected. Then there is perk tree costing gold, and that calls init on that. Okay, yeah. Town tooltip title, and the ability data is just for adding these. Yeah, I think this is pretty reasonable. Okay, manifest all perk costs in one place. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do here, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, I want to see what it would look like if I were to consolidate all of these. So we need to get 3 pieces of information. We need string node path, we need string tree title, and we need an immutable dictionary perk data or ability data or something. So that's going to be our trio here. So let's go make a new, I guess, a record struct. Yeah, I want it pretty much like where perked ability data was. Yeah, something like this. Do we want to reference? What do we call this? Perk tab data. And I'll put these things up here. It doesn't really matter. And then capitalize these. And get the immutable dictionary over here. And ability ID. And then go manifest all the perk tab data somewhere. Hey Mars, thanks for the bits. How goes it? Yeah, we got to put this somewhere. I don't know where I want to put it. Also, do we ever need to refer to this individually anymore? Maybe we don't. No, we don't. Hey, April. Just another day in paradise. Ooh, EJ used to say that, and it was not another day in paradise. April, I hope everything's going okay. Also, let me know if it's pronounced A like in ape or A as in apple. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce your name. Someone's paradise somewhere. I mean, yeah. Do you think someone's paradise involves your life going exactly the way it's going? I'll probably flip-flop on the pronunciation if you don't tell me one way or another. And if you're fine with that, then I'm fine with that too, I guess. But I like knowing how people pronounce their names. All right, so I guess the last thing we need to do is keep track of which tab ID this is for. And what is this? Public enum tab ID? Tab ID. You can't even do that. Because now this refers to something that's not in here. Can I do perks panel tab.tab ID? I can't. Okay. Like April without the R. Okay, gotcha. Ape-ill. Gonna paste that in here. I guess I'll do it like that. April. Sure, someone somewhere is profiting off my life somehow. Yeah, probably. Living the dream because nightmares are dreams. I think there is some amount of positive thinking that can actually improve someone's life. But I think another day in paradise it always strikes me as a thin veneer over something more negative. This isn't a wider commentary, by the way. It's just a funny thing I've noticed. All right, so yeah, we got to manifest this somewhere, and I just haven't done this. So I guess it'd go in this class, and I guess it'd be something like private, static, read-only, dictionary. Does it even need to be a dictionary? Do we ever care about this? We just iterate over all of them, fetch the nodes, and we're done, right? Oh, we need one other thing, the tab title in here. I forgot about that. String tab title. Yeah, it does not need to be a dictionary. Man, what happened here? Didn't I type out more than that? It's just private dictionary. Huh, strange. Private static read only, I don't know, a list, a hash set, it doesn't really matter. List of perk tab data. Perk tab, all perk tab data. Very private, private. All right, so we got a collection there, and we're gonna make a whole bunch of new things. So, does it know what I want to do here? It looks like it knows. So this shouldn't need that. Node path, then the tab title. I don't think it's called tab title, is it? It is called tab title. And then tree title, and then down perk data. Yeah, so I want to make 6 of these things, and it should know how to fill in all of them. Oh, come on. I bet if I type all this on one line, it'll know to do it all on one line for the next thing. Yeah, now I don't have to wait. And then treasure. And then all perks doesn't actually exist there. So the question is this a nicer way of rendering everything? Because it's taking up a whole lot of lines. And I don't know. So all perk trees is what? A dictionary? Yeah, a dictionary. So we would now delete all of this. Actually, do we need this at all? What do we do here? We load from data. We do need to store these somewhere. I'm not sure I like this. I don't think I do. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna back out of this change. Yeah, because I don't think this is worth it. Hey, Bokanon. What I will do is I'll save this in temp just in case I change my mind in the future, but I don't want to do this now. Okay, so that's done. Now what? Make sure to-do items are gone. Okay, see if we can refactor this. We can't know to enable add points here. I wish I'd written a little bit more details about what I meant by this. Need to know the number of skill points available for that. I'm going to just delete this. All right, and what's the other one? See if this still needs to be protected. Is this ever even called? It is, but yeah, it can be private now. Life could be much worse, so I might as well try to have a decent outlook. Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. And I think it comes out in small ways sometimes when it's a language-induced negative thing. And part of it is just sort of fixation on something. Like I myself said this, so like I have a ton of work to do. And at some point I just kept repeating this and repeating this, and then I felt overwhelmed. And I realized like if I just didn't focus on how much work I have to do and rather am I getting through a lot of it, or am I having fun, or am I learning, or is the product getting better, that it feels a lot different. Address to do items. If Amazon. I don't think I've ever made a method protected. What's the use case for protected? So protected is for something that only derived classes should be able to access. So I'll give you an example in a second here. Did this work? No, I don't think I started this. Give me one sec. I just want to make sure nothing broke here. I see, and then they override it. Yeah, or they just call it. So for example, let's say you had a, I don't know, let's say we had a class. I should just think of something car. Sure, car. So you might have something like public string get make, and it returns something here. And then maybe you have like a protected, what might something need to do for this? I don't know, like protected void move forward. This is a bad example. I'm sorry. I'll just show you something in my actual code base that's protected and just show you based on that. So we have, yeah, there's something like this. A way of getting a specific tooltip. So like outside callers shouldn't know the details of this, but the class structure needs to know the details of this so it knows which one of these tooltip methods to call. So this thing is protected and each individual ability overrides it. If I made it public, then something outside of this class could call this directly and maybe not abide by the calling contract that the parent class tries to assert. Okay, so that's done. What about gd.print calls? We probably have a couple of these somewhere. Not all of them are bad, but any new ones I added are probably bad. Like these are all probably fine. I didn't touch that. And that's fine, and that's fine. I didn't touch any of that stuff. This is a debug function. Any debug functions are fine. Metrics uploader is, of course, fine. Game saver is probably fine. This is okay. Enchanter Den. Invalid spell ID. Sure. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Sounds good. That's fine. And what's this? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, all that's fine. No, he has a really good life. He seems upset all the time. I try to look at it as it's not worth getting upset over things you can't control. You have to keep trucking forward. I think some amount of gratitude is almost like necessary to understand how your life could be. And there's certain things, it's kind of interesting because like I'm only ever talking on an internet live stream platform, right? If I were giving a talk in real life, it might be different. But by giving a talk here and by doing this, I can assume certain things about the audience. Like you have access to electricity and internet, or else you couldn't be watching this. So like that alone already puts you into a certain echelon of person that has certain privileges. And like it's probably reasonable to assume some other things too. Like if you're watching a programming stream, you probably have some amount of either entertainment time or like room to learn or be, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of little stuff that goes to that. So it's like all of us could probably have much worse lives. And I get that it doesn't mean that you can't have stress in your life, but I think if you don't remind yourself of what you have, I think it can be easy to just keep focusing on what you want. You can make a helper method and put print there and make it conditional if you want it on debug only build. Yeah, I don't mind having these print calls in here, and I don't mind them even working on release builds. I just wanted to make sure I didn't add something in like gd.print, value is, and then value. And this is just when I was testing something and just left it in. That I didn't want. Though I never ran .NET format. Okay, let's go do that now. .NET format. Whoop, that's not format. .NET format. All right, we're working from a blank slate, right? Yep. I need to run all these test things I have. Guess we can stop that. What is going on? What did I just do? No. Okay, that might have been flagged by the format tool. No. It should find something. Because I've been making a lot of changes. It found nothing? Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I caught everything then. All right, so now we go run this. This might also find something. This takes like 20 seconds. I also was shot during a robbery when I was 20 years old and spent a year and a half not being able to walk. Even now I walk with a limp and it's affected my whole life. I eventually learned I can bemoan my sorrows or just try to stay positive. Yeah, and I think those sorts of events, they can change your life in a way that gives you a new outlook, and I guess it's fine if you ended up getting that new outlook. But ideally, it doesn't take an event like that for everyone to start thinking that way. And yet, it's the nature of the world that people have different personalities and will sort of agree or not agree with that. Does it still, like, I know you said you walk with a limp now and it's affected your whole life. Is it something that you, I don't even know how to ask this. Yeah. It's not even, I'm trying to phrase something correctly. It's like I have a vague idea that's not even converting into any words, blunt or not. I think my brain is not processing. All right, so this is run UID tool. Those things are done. And then what about this? Makes it hovering over the icon, makes it clear it's clickable, makes it hovering over any button. These are tracked elsewhere, and I just don't think they're very important right now. But I'm kind of curious how hard it would be. Clipped a nerve, and I have to wear an AFO brace to walk. AFO brace. Ankle foot orthosis. Oh, interesting. I can't run or do things like rock climbing. I see. Man. Yeah. There's another thought I had that was sort of only tangentially related, which is there are times in history where something could happen to you and there's just no solution. Like, imagine if this happened to you, whatever, 500 years ago. I don't know what they would have done, but I don't think it would have been as nice as what they're doing today. It's like same thing. If you lose a limb now, the prosthetics that exist out there and the sort of robotics that go into it too are super impressive. And it just makes me think it's nice that there are still people spending time doing this stuff because I think a lot of things are profit driven and there isn't necessarily a profit to be made from some of these things unless they affect enough people. Finally made the choice of buying a Core and keyboard. Can't wait for it to arrive in November. Really hope this says usually one is up to my expectations. I hope you like it. I will say this, just keep in mind there is going to be a learning curve. And if you do any sort of coding, expect that curve to last for probably like 2 to 3 months. But at least for English typing, you can expect it to be about a week. Well, at least English typing on the same layout that you're used to. So like, let's say you're using QWERTY right now. If you're still going to use QWERTY, then yeah, it's not too bad. Because that's pretty much the same way for almost any keyboard you type on. Like every keyboard is going to have little differences. The stagger is slightly different, or the layout's slightly different, or the key size may be slightly different, or how far you have to press them in or something. So yeah, learning how to type English again, at least it's not too bad. Alcohol is one of the top doctors in the state. Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty good. Man. All right, so how would we do this? This is when you hover over anything, basically. I don't think I'm going to look at this right now. Yeah. I'm just going to say update. I think both of these things are tracked elsewhere, and they're just not important to do right now. By the way, what time is it? I do want to make sure I'm taking breaks. Yeah, okay, so I should get through the rest of this stuff. Test stuff. Great, cool. Let's go try all of these out. So adventure skills, perks in story mode. Let's just make a new game. Try from scratch. So if I unlock this, yeah, this is grayed out. If I save and load, still grayed out. I can click new things. It'll grade them out accordingly. I can get money. It'll enable them accordingly. I can level up my adventurer. Yep. Looks like everything's working fine here. Yeah, nice. I think all that's fine. And then saving and loading should work. So they're both at level 1. Save, load. Still both at level 1. Okay, all that seems good. Coding speed test. Just gonna hardcore grind that when I get the corn keyboard. I think that's good. I don't know if you've seen this video that I've talked about this stuff, but I highly recommend watching that video because I think it's going to cover a couple little things we've touched on here and probably some other things that you may or may not have thought of. Oh yeah, this is darkening everything a little bit too much, right? Like it looks like these are disabled and not just that you don't have enough money for them. So that I kind of want to change. Where does that come from? Skill button base. There's some like set the lightness. No, saturation. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Darken icon. All right, so we're setting it to 0.5. I think, oh, and the lightness to 0.1. I think that's a bit too much. If we go look at skill button and we change these things manually. So it's 0.5 and 0.1, and that's how dark it looks. So what would make it look a little bit better? I don't think it's changing the lightness. I think it's maybe changing the saturation. So increase this. Yeah, that looks good. So maybe we set that to 0.7. I think it'll look a little bit nicer. But ignoring the looks of this for right now, let's make sure it's all functional. Yeah, looks good. Refund everything. Okay, cool. Let's do that and start a run. So now we should start with a bunch of perks. Good. If I save and load, they should be in the same order. Good. I should be able to buy new perks. You can't click these. Good. And then is there anything else? What haven't I tested? Unlocked perks, upgrades. I did that. Adventure skills, all tab. And perks. Yeah, nice. I think everything's looking good. What happens if you level these up? Let's get a rogue level. Or I guess just anyone. Or sure, the archer. Who cares? Doesn't need to be the rogue. We have 1 point, and I can't subtract the point. Excellent. Now what if I save and load this? Ooh, okay, I think it's all working. So all we've done now is adjust the darkening of the buttons. And then I think we're finished and we can just check this stuff in and delete everything from the to-do list now. Everything to do with this task. And then I could take a break. So darkened buttons, let's go look. Yeah, that looks better. It's clear that there's a difference between these two things, but it's not so dark that you can't see the icon, and it's not so dark that you think you can never enable it. Yeah. I think that's good. Okay. Lightened, darkened buttons a bit. They were just too dark. All right. Well, let's move all of this into the archive section. Ooh. Okay, is it jump time? It's jump time. . Hello, hello. Close the game. Okay, so I want to tackle this list from top to bottom, but there are some things that haven't been fully concretized here, and I want to figure out if we should do them even. I do think this is still important, for example. I want to introduce more perks and synergies and stuff, but this is content. I kind of want to wrap up the systems for now. Yeah. Yeah, I think we just ditch this stuff for now. Hey, Remy. Concretize to make concrete. I guess reify is probably just a better word if I'm going to be saying that. To make real. Yeah, I think I'm going to file this all for later. Yeah. But where do we put it? Maybe on a GitHub issue? Add more perks to bone mode. Perks / unlocks. So just copy paste everything here. Just never heard it used that way. It's not a very common word to say, I would think. Okay, so more perks is where this goes. It's what makes bone mode fun and interesting. Now I've got a list of ideas there. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's create that. So we're going to do this and just say update. I moved this to an issue. And then just delete it from here. Okay. Think you need a particle effect where faux potions are spawning in. I still think this is good. I don't even really want to spend the time doing this. So I think this is like a nice little polish thing that I'm just probably not going to do. Yeah. So I'll file it as an issue and then we'll just close it. Add a particle effect for faux potions. I still think this is a good idea, but I don't think it's worth the time right now. So I'm going to immediately close this issue. Yeah. Just create it and close as not planned. And then put a link to it from over here. And then X this out. Put it on a 2.0 list. This is the kind of thing that it's polish. It's definitely like low impact polish. People may or may not even notice it ever. And as a result, it can be done anytime. But if the game does well enough to warrant a 2.0, this is not going to make or break the experience either. I guess I'd argue that probably most polish won't make or break the experience. There's some amount that makes it feel like a real game, though. So it is this kind of interesting tightrope walk. Make it clear when you finish a run that you've unlocked new perks. I don't think people are aware that the pool is increasing. Yeah, I don't think people even, like, it almost feels like you click this and then it's modifying this tab somehow. Especially because some of the icons are the same. So what does this say at the top? Complete bone mode runs to unlock town perks that can show up in future runs. Ooh, is that even true? It's not. It says unlock town perks that can show up in future runs. That's not all this does, though. How do I cheat this? :2. Here, num perks unlocked. Let's set it to 13. Short while we have an actual IT security team, and they're doing a huge security offensive now with a new IT security trainer provider. When they announced this upcoming, Oh, they announced this was upcoming. They were like, you can expect an email linking you to this with a training. Huh. I wonder if maybe this is going too deep here, but I wonder if they're actually happy you caught on and they're like, don't tell your coworkers about this yet, and that's how they're trying to get you to not share. But I guess they could just come clean and be like, hey, congrats, you spotted it. Now don't tell your coworkers. We want to see how many people click it. But yeah, assuming that there is no kind of secret test here, then that is pretty bad. Now, with that said, what might have happened, because I think I could see this happening, is like someone communicated to another person, hey, send out this message, and they were not very precise, but the security people could have been precise, and there's a middle person who got it wrong. They got struck by it and didn't trust it, yeah. All right, so I now have every upgrade, right? Or every unlock. Oh, this isn't good. Yeah, this isn't good. Oh no. Okay, well, it used to be. Oh man. We gotta change some text here. That's all. It's not clear. Yeah, it says complete bone mode runs will unlock town perks that can show up. This is not a town perk. Well, it's a higher level of a town perk. So it needs to say something like complete bone mode runs to unlock or upgrade town perks. So that might be fine, but now this is not clear. It just says farm crops are worth more based on how many town perks you've chosen so far. It sounds like this is just innate. It's not. It's not. This is a perk that can show up in the pool. So I think what we need to do is we need to say something like farm crop value can now appear in the perk pool. And then we say what it does. And that's going to be annoying. Yeah. Description for unlocked perk. Oh no. No. Oh, this is going to be annoying. Yeah, but it's unclear. All right, let's go make a thing here. Make it clearer that unlocked perks aren't just innate, or well, they are innate. E.g., right now you see this. But that makes it sound like crops will always be worth more, but instead it's just a perk that has been added to the pool. Increases the maximum level of whatever. Where does this show up? Get ability description tooltip new. By the way, I do think training people against getting all their data phished is really, really important. Not every company has secure software, but every company has people. And people are usually prone to making mistakes. So assuming your software is bulletproof, it's like, well, someone still needs to be able to administer that software. And you could always eventually get to them through people. And there can be checks in place, but then maybe those checks all get undone too. There was some recent story about, well, what happened. They sent these very reputable looking phishing emails to people at universities, and they linked to a Google Doc And inside the dock, there was something. I don't know what. I don't think it was a computer thing, though. I think it was just meant to socially engineer people. And then they somehow got these two-factor authentication codes and went in and changed a bunch of things in Workday and in Exchange. So emails from HR wouldn't show up. And people's paychecks were being put into some like hacker's account, basically. And all of this was done through, from what I understand, like social engineering as the entry point. Now there are a lot of there are a lot of security flaws in all of that, but yeah. All right, so I want to look at this. How does this work? Description increases the max level of this that'll be offered to you during a run, and then we put another tooltip. Yeah, so I think what we need is this is a perk that grants a perk. So when it comes to unlocking this, we need something that says that. Generated ability. Maybe like this can now show up in the middle of a run, and we put it inside generated ability. Tooltip for unlocked perk. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think we want something like this. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this, but it's going to be over pretty fast. So let's just get through it. C# localized. This is just going to be in generated ability. So now this needs to be partial. And then this needs to look a little bit different. So it's going to say allows ability display name to show up during a run. Something like that. That perk to show up during a run. Oh, yuck. Where do we get the display name from? I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. This is already here though. Can we just call this? It's overridden, and that's what this is going to do. So this needs to call into the parent class. All right, well, how do we do it for this? Max hunger. What is it? What is this called? Huh. I don't know what this is called. Well, we can just find things that inherit from this. What is happening right now? Yeah, here's an example. So this passes in a special kind of data to the parent. And I guess what we want here is there to be a function that does this for us. So we would make generated ability do that. Yeah. So protected string get tooltip for unlocked perk. What do we call this? For perk that grants a perk? I don't know. All right, whatever. Fine. Something like that. And then we pass in the display name. Yeah. Something like that. And then we go change this to do return this. Base ability tooltip, though, that's not there. That's got to be messages.get description. All right, this is a little bit ugly. I think it's going to work for this one thing, and then we just need to figure out if I'm happy with this pattern. And I don't feel happy with it. So I want to come up with at least a slightly better way, maybe. Well, let's go take a look at what it renders as. It didn't work at all. What did I mess up? Farm crop value. Get tooltip for perk that grants a perk. Yeah, it's broken again. Come on. Let F12 work. There we go. Get description allows the ability display name perk to show up during a run. Why is it not showing here? Because I didn't override this? No, I overrode it. What is happening? Strange. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Farm crop value. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm in the wrong function. Oh, yeah, I'm in the wrong function. Whoops. Yeah, whoops. It's this. Get description for unlocked perk. This can't be the case anymore. And this is just data that's passed in because we wanted this to just be a hard-coded string. Oh, great. Oh, great. This is not good. Yeah, this is not good. Tisk. Yeah, man. So this doesn't need to be dynamic, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's going to be unlocked. We could just have this work a little bit differently. Where does it get passed into? Tooltip for unlocked perk. It's only for generated abilities. I think that's also going to be an issue. Huh. I didn't really put a lot of thought in this, did I? Nope. No, I did not. Well, that's where this would come in. And I guess the ability to display name is going to be the display name we already know about for this thing. So we can just do like data.display name. Data is not passed in. No, it's just lowercase data. Isn't it just display name? Yeah, that'll work. And then base ability tooltip would have been this. And now what's the problem with this thing? It doesn't need to exist. And then farm crop value doesn't need to call that. So now this can just do whatever it used to do. Okay, let's try that. I just want to do this in a different order now. Because that looked pretty good. Oh, there's a title though. Oh god. Yeah. Get tooltip for unlocked perk. It starts with the ability name. And the ability name is something that's hard coded there. Yeah. All right. So how do I want this to show? I think I want it to look something like this. Excuse me. Here it says increased appetite max level. So I think when it's unlocked, I think I wanted to say like grant farm crop value. And it'll say allows the farm crop value perk to show up during a run. And then beneath it says farm crop value. Yeah. So how do we get that to work? Oh boy. Unlocked perk. This is in player ability. So we need to override this. Okay, that's not too bad. It would say grant this. And then the description and the, oh man. Base ability tooltip would also have a name in here. This is not good. Base ability tooltip. This would have had a name and then a thing in it. Yeah, okay, okay. I see how we can do this. I don't like this at all. Display name as title /n/n. Yeah, that. Yeah, yuck. This is going to be BB code functions format title display name. All right, now I think everything should be consistent. And I think this is done in a pretty stupid way. Also, grant is in small text. Yeah, this would need to be like BB code functions format title grant. The way we used to do this, at least I think, is that we used to have a separate perk that would allow this perk to show up in the middle of a run. And now it's just one perk that does everything. I want to look at the old code though and see how that used to function. Yeah, so I think this looks a little bit better now, right? Grant farm crop value allows the farm crop value perk to show up during a run. Yeah. So now all of these have an explanation of what's going on. Yes, every single one. And then maybe we say, we put a colon there. All right, so let's go way back in time. How do we do this? We want to go look at ability ID. Ability ID. Do I still have these, I wonder? And now we look at the history of this. It's one of these things. So let's just go look at this one maybe. Now for the fun of trying to find that file. Ability ID. We just keep doing this and pressing Command G. I think this is the stupidest way to search for things. This is where I think GitHub is lacking, because there's a search within code, but it doesn't work when you have a ton of files like this. Like if I type ability ID, it's finding 431 instances. I just want to find the, okay, I coincidentally found this here, but I just wanted to find the file name, and I don't know a fast way to do that. But yeah, all these meta perks exist here. I think I've since deleted them. We only go up to 197. Yeah, we used to go up to like 205. So I wonder which way is better. We used to have an ability just for the sake of granting another ability. Yeah, I suppose I'm okay with how this is working now. And then if we ever do want there to be a perk that just grants another... No, it would allow another perk to show up during a run. I wouldn't do that, I guess. Huh, interesting. Here goes to. If you span the left sidebar, you can search by file name. Oh my god, seriously? I didn't realize that might have it. Oh. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh my god, thank you. That's very helpful. Oh man, I'm gonna like write this down in case I forget. Pull requests. Yeah. So finding a specific file. Suppose you have like 50 plus files. It's not easy to find the specific one that you want, and neither the browser's built-in search nor the file content search on GitHub will help. Instead, you need to expand the left sidebar and filter the file names through there. And let's put a picture. Oh, interesting. The filter works even if this is collapsed. So if you want to find more files now, you'd have to expand this, then type in a different thing, then collapse it. All right, so we take a picture of this. Well, how do we make this picture a little bit smaller? Maybe I just zoom out on the picture itself. Yeah. I also kind of want to show that search thing. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we write, click this to expand / collapse the left sidebar. And then filter your file names here. And then this will only search the contents of files. Yep. Yeah, I've had this collapse for so long that I didn't even remember it existed. And this is not a sticky button. So if you scroll down, oh, it is sticky. Okay, never mind. Wait, what was it? Because I was zoomed in then? No, it still shows. Okay, anyway, it's a sticky button then. So that part doesn't really count. But yeah, I didn't remember that this existed. Wait, again, why is it showing? It's not showing any files anymore. Some like weird stuff going on here. Hey, Debtrise, thank you. Hope your day is awesome too. Yeah, we just learned something from Gosu that I didn't know about. Can you shrink this? You can. Well, you can try. It seems to be fighting me. I don't know why it's bouncing like that. I guess it's the ellipses. Hey, Cypher. Also, hi, Codex. So yeah, suppose you have this. So we have the picture now. I want to just put this picture in here. Even if you know its name. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. And we'll shrink this a little bit. Yeah, like that's pretty decent. Whew. So I did that to figure out whether I was happy with how I did this other change. And I think I'm moderately happy with it. Yeah, I don't think it's great. And the word grant now is just there in the middle. I should change that. Yeah. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. So far, they've all been related to discovering new problems in my ML models. Hey, that's still learning. It might feel like, oh, I'm not making progress or something. You probably are. So this is literally just going to be the word grant. Grant. Okay. Now this is messages.get grant. Maybe we say it's word for grant. Word for grant. I don't know. It's a little unusual. And I'll try one more time and we'll just make sure that this is clearer now. Oh wait, no, hold on. We gotta not have everything unlocked. It's too late. I need to reopen this. But we just gotta search for 13. Where are you at? 13. There you are. Let's set you to 12. Because there's a different message that shows when you don't have everything unlocked. So now we'll get to see what it looks like. Complete bone mode runs to unlock or upgrade town perks. Even that's not super clear. Yeah. What do I want to say with this? I guess each individual button is clear now. Complete bone one runs to... It is actually... I guess that's what I want to say. Maybe I could just add another sentence. These can alter which perks show up during a run, or make some perks more powerful. I mean, that's pretty much what this is saying. So we don't need both sentences. And what's the tab called? Unlocked perks? I don't know why this doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why this is such a hard task. Literally just come up with an English sentence that explains this feature. I've got redundancy now. I wonder if it's going to make things slightly clearer. Redundancy isn't always bad. Complete bone mode runs will unlock or upgrade town perks. These, maybe I should say these unlocks, can alter which perks show up during a run or make some perks more powerful. Is it Buros? These unlocks. Runs to unlock. I think one of the problems is I need a different word for this. Like we're saying that these are perks. They're like meta perks. I don't want to use the word meta perks. Innate upgrades, maybe something like that. These unlocks can alter which perks show up during a run or make some perks more powerful. Maybe I'll leave it at that. A fruit Superman. Could say available. They're available makes it sound like you can choose them. Like now. So these aren't things you choose. These are things that, like, okay, when you complete a run, you're gonna get this. This is the farm crop value like meta perk. What this means is now during a run, you can now find the farm crop value perk. So like previously, this never would have shown up. Now it's unlocked and it can show up. But there's nothing you can do on this screen with it. Like you can't click these things. I think this is slightly better. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. So clarify unlocked perks. Before this, the perk descriptions made it sound like you would be given the benefit by default, but it would just add a perk to the pool. All right, well, we fixed the first one of these. What I didn't fix is this next one, which is that when you complete a run, it should tell you that you've unlocked perks if you've unlocked them. So if I do this, it says you've unlocked the next scenario. It doesn't say anything about which unlocked perks you got. And it'd be kind of nice if the icons showed up here too. I wonder if that's too much. Yeah, I think maybe the ideal thing is saying you've unlocked the next scenario and these perks. and then something like this. And you could hover over these to see what those things do. That would really put it in your face, though. Especially because the perk icons are not small. They take up like this much space, so they'd bump everything down a little bit. And I'm okay with that. Alternatively, what we could say is, I think the icons need to be in your face or you won't know that you got them. And we use the word unlocked here too. Man, I don't know. Town perks unlocked, battle perks unlocked. Maybe it's like town perks chosen. Is that even... It says 13, so they're not chosen necessarily. Like, we started with a bunch of them. Yeah, I need to change a lot of this. Most people might be most interested in what new perks they have available. Yeah, and I think it adds some intrigue to the next scenario you're going to run. So wait, let me look at that again. First of all, this town perks unlocked. I think it's just a town perks. I'm not even really sure what to say. Maybe just town perks and then some number, like 12. So the thing is, you start the run with some number of them. So you didn't really choose them. You didn't buy them. Yeah, Maroon. Achieved? You didn't achieve them either, though. There are some that are innate. I think it should just say town perks. And then if you hover over this, it might say something like this counts the innate ones that you started with. Yeah, maybe that. Wait, what? Why is this? Oh, yeah, good. Okay. End screen. So town perks. And then battle perks. So what happens when you beat adventuring mode then? Yeah, it says you have 9 battle perks. So yeah, we should probably just make a tooltip and say this includes your innate ones that you started with. Seem like run modifiers to me. Well, they are town perks that you could get yourself. The perk icon's like a card, so you flip the card to reveal the icon and the contents of the perk. No, they're just like the ones you see here. So this would show up at the end inside that dialogue probably. Isn't it bone mode now? Yeah. Wait, did I say something wrong? I don't know if I did. Yes, I think we had a tooltip in here. Do we have any tooltips that don't have dynamic values? How do we set the tooltip where this content shows? We do it on each individual thing. That's unfortunate. Just the file name. Oh, yeah. The file names I haven't adjusted. I didn't want to change like everything here. Yeah, I think putting a tooltip for these saying this includes perks that you started with. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. All right, then let's go do that. So we will instantiate a tooltip on parent here and one here, tooltip on parent. We will give these both unique names. This will be called town perks value tooltip. Is that what I did for these other ones? I just called it tooltip. And then this will be battle perks tooltip. And then in here, we go get those things, town perks tooltip and battle perks tooltip. And then just write in the content. This includes perks that you started the run with. Whoops, that's not right. I meant to write that here. Okay, let's try that. Again, we have not solved the problem I set out to solve. I'm just making some things a little bit clearer, which I still think is worthwhile to do. So we go B to run, and we hover over those things. This includes perks that you started the run with, yeah. Maybe this number includes perks that you, yeah. Number includes, or maybe counts. Includes counts. I think includes is fine. Okay, so let's check this in. Clarify text on end screen. And now I do think we go with this. You've unlocked the next scenario and these perks, and we show icons there. I wonder what the easiest way to show an icon is for this. I think we already have, we have unlocked perk button. It would just be this. And it's just going to be in its own little flow container or something. We have a skill table. I mean, I guess it can contain these. Isn't this what we do for unlocked perks tree? We just need hover stuff in here. Where does the hover stuff happen? Probably in the parent player ability tree. Yeah, here it is. So we would just need the hover things, and that would just set a tooltip. Do we have a tooltip in here? I guess we can use the town's tooltip. Something's wrong with our prod branch. That's a way smaller problem. So I'm vaguely happy. Congratulations. Well, that's an important learning from today. Okay, so I think what we do is we add in a skill table and then add in unlocked perk buttons to it, and then handle skill table dot, what's it called? On hover skill button and on stop hover skill button. Yeah. To the end screen, to the skill table. Handle that by showing the town tooltip. And there's one last thing we need to do. Change the text to this. Yeah, change the end screen text to... All right, you've unlocked the next scenario right there. So this is next challenge unlocked, and this is next challenge and... Oh, wait. You... If there are two things you can unlock, we technically have 4 scenarios to accommodate. That you unlock neither, that you unlock A, B, or A and B. But I don't know if you can ever unlock just B in this case. Technically, it's not possible right now. We have 13 unlocks, and you are guaranteed 2 unlocks per run, and we have more than 7 runs you have to do. So you can never just get unlocks right now. Wait, wait. But you might have redone a scenario. Oh, God, fine. Fine. I do need to accommodate all of these. It's a never before seen problem. Well, someone's got to fix it now, right? If something's wrong with the prod branch. So I guess you will eventually find out what happened, even if you're not the one to encounter that. So it's like the best kind of mystery. It's one you can solve if you want to, but you don't have to, and someone else is pretty much forced to solve it. All right, so this is the next challenge unlocked. Next challenge and perks unlocked, and then just perks unlocked. So you've unlocked the next scenario, you've unlocked the next scenario and these perks, and you've unlocked these perks. Yeah. Repeating means that we have to do that. Okay, so now we go find the right thing here. Set next challenge label. Where do we figure out if you've unlocked new perks? Where does that happen? Unlock more perks right there. So this should probably return a Boolean if you've actually unlocked them. But we need to tell you how many you've unlocked. So it should return an integer for how many you've unlocked. So int old num equals num perks unlocked. Return that. All right, so that's how many you've unlocked. Num perks unlocked equals that. Okay, save that here. Private int that. Cool. So now in here, we need to pull in the right thing. Ugh. Is on highest difficulty unlocked. We need to know that you have another level. This isn't even correct. Unlocked new perks is there. Unlocked new scenario is if you're on the highest difficulty and you're not at the max level. Where do we get the level? It's right there. Less than, where is the max level? New run screen must know. Max difficulty level, it's right there. Is that public? Yeah, it's public. So new challenge run screen dot max difficulty level. Whoops. Okay. All right, so many different scenarios here. So if you unlocked new perks and you unlocked a new scenario, then we set this to get next challenge and perks. And the AI should be able to figure out the rest of this stuff. So if it's just a new scenario, get next challenge. If it's just new perks, then set this to the perks. And then we have the difficult part of showing the icons. Okay. Someone is me. Oh, ideally before Monday, and we're gone on a work trip Friday to Saturday. So that's not ideal, but very exciting nonetheless. Well, I wish you luck. What is this thing here? What is this little icon? Huh, interesting. Children are not selectable. I must have accidentally pressed that because I didn't mean to do that. I don't even know how you turn that off. It doesn't even have children. There should be a button that looks like it up here somewhere, right? Strange. I don't see it. Pan, ruler. This? Huh. I don't know what does that. Can I just click it? Oh, okay. Okay, fine. How do you turn that on then? Oh, there it is. Wait, that was the same icon, right? Yeah. Oh. What is this called? Ungroup or group? Huh. Not the name I might have expected. So what I want below this is a skill table. So I guess instantiate in a skill table. I can't click the thing. Why can't I click this? Come on, seriously? This happens every once in a while, and I don't know what. Yeah, now it's clickable for some reason. I didn't do anything. All right, so this is a skill table, and we're going to call this unlocked perks. Okay, I'm very curious how hard this is going to be to do. Because I refactored a whole bunch of stuff, and ideally this is easy. But who knows? So skill table is going to be like that. This is a skill table. So we want to hide it in some cases. So if you've unlocked new perks, I guess skill table dot visible equals if you've unlocked new perks, and next challenge label dot visible is equal to if you unlocked a new scenario. Oh, or that you unlock new perks. So now we just delete that stuff. That's not like that. And then if you unlock new perks, then we need to set up the skill table buttons. So let's try adding one. Is there an add skill button? There is. All right, so we need to do whatever. Let's just pick that for now. We need to do whatever unlocked tree does. Unlocked tree. What's it called? Unlockable perks tree. So there should be an add skill button in here. There is. So I want to do this stuff. And I want to do it for whichever ability IDs you've actually unlocked. But for now, we're just going to hard code an ability ID. And the ability ID we choose is farm crop value. So now this goes like that. Button dot remove button. This is stupid. It shouldn't be done that way. Abilities component. This should be unnecessary, right? Can't we just make a new one of these? New abilities component. And no cost. All right, I'm going to write to do use the right abilities and to do refactor unlockable perks tree to cut down on duplication. And then we need to handle hovering over this. So this is going to look very similar to player ability tree in that sense, where we do these things. And I put this in the end screen for now. This should probably be its own entire widget. Yeah, it should probably be its own entire thing. Fine, I'll write that down too. This should probably be its own scene just to cut down on the amount of code in this file. But I'll save that for a bit. In fact, let's write that down here. Address the to-do items. I want to prove that this works. I want to then take a quick break, and then I want to finish this. All right, so what are we doing now? We are coding this in. Skill table. And then we need this in here. Player ability tree, on hover, skill button, and stop hover. There's a tooltip we're going to need. I guess we use the town one. Show and update. Where's that? Player ability tree. Show and update tooltip. Set the tooltip ability ID. What's that for? Update tooltip. Where's update tooltip called? Modify ability level. That's never going to happen. Show and update. So I don't think we need all of this. So this can go here. Get ability tooltip text, seriously? This gets it from the ability component, which we don't care about. Yuck. I might need to refactor more than I originally thought. Like, I think we need to change what is a tree. So there is no abilities component here. We're going to just make a new one. Yeah. All right. So what tooltip is this? We have the town, don't we? Please tell me we have the town. We do. We save it. Yes, good. Okay. So this is just town.tooltip. And then replace those two. And then the only other thing we need is the tooltip ability ID, which we never update. So we just can set this to ability ID. Hi again, Dozy Burrito. Back from after Wendy's raid. Well, I think it should work. It's always going to show farm crop value and nothing else. Except for even that's not going to happen because I have a save file that has everything. So let's just delete the save file. Windows updates. Say no more. I only use my Windows machine now for gaming. And the only thing that bothers me now with Windows Update is there's an update and shutdown feature, but it restarts the computer, and then I think it requires that you type in your password again, and then it'll shut down. So like I get done playing a game, and I'm like, yeah, let's run an update, and I click this, and then I want to just go to bed, but you can't do that, or else the computer will stay on all night. So that's the only thing that bugs me about that. And I think it used to work the way I expected, and I think it works the way I'm saying it does now. All right, let's see what this looks like. I forgot to center this too, so it might look ugly. It's not showing at all. All right, what happened? There is a bug. Node not found skill table. Because it's not called skill table, it's called unlocked perks. Oh, man. All right, so I guess we should say this is like the... Yeah, I'm just going to keep calling it that, I guess. We're going to probably rename the whole thing anyway, eventually. All right, start a scenario. Beat the scenario. Hey, nice. Wow, and the tooltip works. Oh, except for that this is the wrong kind of tooltip. Drat. Where's meta perk granting higher max level of perk? Is this unlocked? Yeah, get ability description for unlocked tooltip. That's what I need to call. I need to do this from the end screen. So we change this. That's not a thing. Get ability for unlocked perk is inaccessible due to its protection level. What's responsible for calling this then? Generated ability? Get tooltip for unlocked perk? Ooh, I don't like that. And it doesn't even take in an abilities component? Well, that makes things easier. So then how do we get the ability? Oh, man. All right. Player ability. There's some way to construct it. All abilities dot create ability. Yeah. Ability ID. Okay. And now what's the issue with this? This is just showing on top of this other thing because it's a margin container, not a VBox container. So we need to put this inside of a VBox container. And then put that there. And then make sure this is centered. It probably is by default. Wait, did I do that right? No, I did not do that right. Oh, drat. Now it's upside down. No, 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 no. I went too fast. There. All right, what am I doing? Not that. I'm doing this. All right, cool. Yeah, and then I don't want it to look darkened. Why does it look darkened? Why indeed? Because there's no... I know what I did wrong. I didn't initialize the skill table. Yeah, we need to initialize it so that it thinks you have 0 money. This is kind of a quirk of how this works. But still, we can put this here. So this will make it not look darkened anymore. And then we just figure out the right abilities and we do something else. We clean up a bunch of code. Hey, Phil. We're doing it. We're really doing it. It's still darkened. What? Why is it dark? It's set to a cost of 0. Something must not be updating it then. I think I know what's responsible for that. Yeah, right there. Skill table.currency change. All right, that's an unfortunate quirk of this. Hey, other Phil. We got 2 Phils. You can really get your fill in this chat. All right. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I like that. Yeah, so now this dialogue looks a little bit goofy because it's pretty tall. And how do we fix that? We know there's only one fill. So there's going to be a fight to the death in here. Just try to keep it tidy, okay? Yeah, so this dialogue looks a little bit stupid now. What do we do about that? I don't want it to be so tall. Or maybe we just cut down on the... Can I get rid of any of these? No, not really. Maybe it won't be as jarring once I've looked at it a couple times. Yeah, maybe not. Let's also try adding one more button. Maybe that'll even things out a bit. So this is button 1. This is button 2. And this one's going to say... What else do we have? Power leveling. And we don't need an abilities component here. Maybe we can construct this ahead of time. Fake abilities component equals new. Yep, use that one, use that one. I think it was 2 buttons. I reject the idea that it's been over 2 years since you've been back. Yeah, it hasn't been. You must have been subbed before that too, but thank you and happy 2 years. Because the day that I came back was December 4th. I was like, that doesn't sound right, but yeah. So it hasn't been 2 years, and even if we're off by 1, that wouldn't make sense. So you must have had a sub from the old days. But thank you for resubbing. Thank you for your patronage. And this looks pretty nice. Also, I like this a lot. I think putting this in people's faces is important because this is what's going to let you know that, like, oh, hey, on your next run, you can find these. Now, is it clear when you hover over these? Grant farm crop value. Allows the farm crop value perk to show up during a run. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see as people play test if they're like, okay, I understand what that means. Hopefully it does. There is one other... No, I think this is fine. Does anyone have any suggestions for how we can make this look better? Like the content, I want to have all the content be the same. But can we lay it out a little differently maybe or something? Because I was thinking, like, what if we put the perks off to the right side here? So it says you've unlocked these perks and then showed like icon 1, icon 2. I don't know. I'm not gonna, whatever. It's fine. Don't even answer that question. Okay, I'm gonna go take a break. Yeah. Is it jump time? Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. And hey, failed reality. Welcome in. It said first time chat, but you're a subscriber. Oh, because of a motorboat. I see. Yeah, close the game. Close the game. They've been reset since season 1. Season 1 ended when I accidentally deleted the save file. And I could have rolled back to an earlier version, but then I thought it'd be unfair to all the people who played between the rollback and then. So I just wiped everything out. All right, to use the correct abilities. This is a little bit difficult to do. We need to... How do we do this? Unlock new perks. Here. Unlock more perks. Here it is. So we figure out how many you have unlocked. This is public, right? Yeah. So how then do we do that? We need to take a certain number from an array. So list ability ID unlocked perk IDs, or like unlocked ability IDs equals skip and then take. Oh wow, interesting. That is pretty much exactly what I want. Wow, neat. Now iterate over those. For each ability ID in... Okay, and then do this and delete that. So make a new skill button and give it the ability ID and do that. Cool. Collection can be simplified, sure. This will go down here for now. All right, let's go try that out. It's a battle pass dropping. Can you imagine? I guess, like, is it possible to be... I was going to ask a stupid question. Is it possibly a full-time streamer whose content you create is like just the stream? But that's most streamers. I guess some people are playing games and stuff, but some people are just chatting. But yeah, it made me think, what if you had a battle pass for the stream and this wasn't just a joke? Like, what else would it do? I guess you get cosmetics in any games. You'd probably get like, I don't know, it's not that different from a subscription in general, right? What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, check and see how many of these I'd unlocked already. There are cosmetics in the game. You can change your character and you can get a glow and you can get, I don't think there are any pictures out there. Yeah, so there's a picture of all the different characters you can choose. Anyone can do this, but then you can change your glow color and your name color if you're a subscriber. So there already actually technically is a connection to monetization. Just it's very loose and it's just for colors. It's pay to win. All right, so how many unlocked perks do we have? 10. All right, let's go try this. You might only unlock one. So we're just going to test this and see if it's showing you the right things. So we click that and that and that. And the last ones we got are grant enemy stat multiplier and marine mana. So now we're going to get 2 more perks. It is fish give gold and greedy garbage slime. So those should show up there now. Fish give gold, greedy garbage slime. And then we should get 1 more perk because that's the only one we don't have. Oh, it says these perks, but then it just shows 1. It should say this perk. I'm not going to change that. Increased appetite max level. Now that should show up there. Good. And then we start another scenario. Now it should just say, it says nothing. And if we do the newest challenge, it'll say you've unlocked the next challenge. Nice. So the only thing we haven't tested is when you do the new challenge and you still have perks you can unlock. So let's go try that. Ah, you caught me. Now it's time to ban you, so you can't share your vitriol to other people. This is looking really good. So now all we have is a couple of refactoring things. Let's take a look at the code. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like... I don't like all of this being here. I'm going to make a new... Should I do this now or should I do this in a separate commit? I'll do it in a separate commit. I think it'd be a bad idea to try to do everything all at once. Yeah, okay. So show unlocked perks at the end of a run. This should make it much more obvious that that runs will change over time. Yeah. Okay. Now I gotta say, gotta pat myself on the back a little bit here. I think I've had the right attitude when it comes to working on these to-do things. Well, thank you, Cypher Decoded, for gifting that sub to Ember. And welcome, Ember. Yeah, I was busy patting myself on the back when someone had the audacity to give me money. Please stop interrupting my being proud session by filling my wallet. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the bricklaying mentality that I've been talking about, and for those who haven't seen it, it's this command. I think it is hard to get through a tremendous to-do list and have a good attitude about it. And I think just setting your expectations to like, look, this may not be fun. We're just going to tackle everything top to bottom. Some of these tasks may take 8 hours. Some of them may take 10 minutes. So this has been going pretty smoothly so far. So I think we're going to extract this into its own class. So what does this represent? It's like an unlocked skill summary, I guess is what we call it. Unlocked perks summary. Something like that. Hey, Zylotics. Been in meetings all morning? Man, you've had a lot of meetings. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the change I just made, but it's not going to impact like seasoned players, but it'll be pretty nice for new players. I will show this off really fast. Wait, apparently no, I won't. There we go. Oh, thanks for subbing for yourself, Cypher. I'm paying and I'm going to win. Okay, just keep in mind, if you want to use those commands that change your color, you have to do them in the middle of a run or before a run. You can't do them on the end screen or they won't get saved. But it's pretty simple. It's just glow and a color and name and a color. Name, color, and a color. So you can just run those after joining at one point. Okay, so what are we doing here? I was showing Xyletics the new feature. Yeah. So if we win a run, you now see this at the top. You've unlocked these perks. And that way it's pretty clear to you that your next run could potentially have these. Also, does marine mana still require that you have glowing fish? I think it does. And I think that's probably good. So yeah, let's keep it that way. All right, so unlocked perks summary is what I want to call this new thing. Let's just take a look through this and see if anything looks a little weird about it. No, I think that's pretty reasonable. And then all the hovering things that we do, yeah. Just thinking about UX ideas. Do you have any other ones? Because I have, and I think you saw this, but I've improved this now. So you can click these, and then if you're like, oh, whoops, I put 1 point too many in there, you can just right click it now, or click the minus button. So this has been improved. Yeah. And you can still refund all of them if you want to. As around that and highlighting perk points a bit more once you hit the menu. Highlighting perk points. You mean this? Because yeah, this I somehow, there have been a couple people who have clicked start scenario without spending all their points. I think I want to maybe spawn a dialogue saying like, hey, you're about to start without spending your upgrade points. Because yeah, not spending these is like a huge detriment. And it's just fun to do. It's a bit small and not emphasized. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have to make them more obvious. That's on the list. At the very least, like making it clear that they exist. And then making them look nice would be cool to do too. So skill table. This is a skill table, but it has a special script. So I guess all we need is the special script. So let's save this as unlocked perks summary. And then put a comment here. This is just a skill table. Come on, type the thing I want to type. For showing which perks you've unlocked at the end of a bone mode run. How many taps on mobile to get into the stream? Three taps. Twitch mobile's goofy. When I open Twitch, it shows me a stream that I think it thinks I'm likely to watch. And from there, I can just tap it once. So like I can open the app, and if it happens to be that first stream, I can just tap that. Otherwise, let me see what I have to do. I think I would go to, wait, I have to close the app for it to show the same thing, huh? Yeah, so I'd have to tap following, and then the stream. Yeah, it should be 2 taps. I have to tap it once, then it's focused, then to get to chat. Okay, I see. Yeah. Huh, weird. The little X is really, really hard to hit. Wow. This cannot be right. There's a little thumbnail and it's got an X on it, but tapping the X expands it. Okay, so we're going to delete pretty much everything in here. And then we're going to make this have the right script. Let's go take a look at that. So unlocked perk summary. Put that there. Then this changes. Unlock perk summary. And this changes to, I guess, like unlock perk summary. So now it's its own scene. Perk summary. We can call it, we can call it summary in there too. Okay, so initializing it, I want to initialize it with a town. And then it can do all this other stuff for me. So we need to put this in here and initialize it with a town. So now this needs an init town. And then it calls into that. Okay. Now we just go do all the other things we need to do here. Visible, that's fine. Add skill button is fine. Currency changed is fine. Where are all the handlers for this? Here they are. On hover and on stop hover. I don't think any of these functions should be there. This should all be moved to the table itself. Which is now going to break this. What just happened there? That was weird. Where are the event handlers? Here they are. So we're listening for these right in here. Yeah, I need to just call them something different now. Maybe hovered skill button. Stop hovered skill button. That's kind of stupid. Everything else looking good here? Yeah, pretty much. And then delete all of these. Okay, so the whole point of that is exactly what we just did. We got rid of a bunch of lines of code from here. So now this file, oh, wow, I say a bunch of lines. I got rid of 5. Oh, because I never deleted the functions. Yep. Okay, so we got rid of more than 5. We got rid of about 20. No, 21, yeah. Does it work? Hmm. This is just a funny standalone line. It's also kind of funny because if you went back in time to when phones first came out, and then you were to show those people a foldable phone that basically turns into a tablet that you just keep in your pocket afterward, they'd be like, "What is this? We're living in the future. I bet it only costs like $200 too." And you're like, "Well, actually, multiply that by 10, and that's the baseline." All right, so I don't remember if I unlocked everything already. Did I? No, I only have 4. Okay. So this is going to be hopefully the exact same code. Everything should still work here. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Love it. Okay, so that's the first refactoring that we did. That to-do item should be gone. Cool. And now the only to-do item that remains, we're about to address. Unlocked perks summary. And now for this, the buttons that we add. This looks exactly like unlockable perks tree. We make buttons in this fashion. I guess what we could do is we can make a static creation function here. I'm not sure how I want to do this. Let's put this here for now. Public static skill button base create. What do we call this? Like unlocked skill button. I'm going to need to clarify what that means. And then we need to take in an ability ID and an abilities component. Abilities component. Skill table to add. Oh God, right. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Hey, Soli. Remember when we thought we'd have anti-gravity cars? Said we got foldable phones. I mean, foldable phones are probably pretty cool. I've never actually used one. Or if I have, it's been at like a phone store. I've never actually tried using one separately. Actually, how many people in chat have a foldable phone? It's strange. Hmm. All right, so let's replace this. The problem here is that this would need to be passed in as a function. So we need some like func. It takes in a button and an ability ID. Why can't it just take in the button? Because we don't have it. That's stupid. I have 2 phones that I pretend to fold. I'll just tape these together. Have you looked into publishers or raising funds? I'm not looking into them. I'm very torn on publishers in general. I feel like I hear more negative stories than positive stories. And it's just not something I want to gamble on. Plus, I think self-publishing would allow me to get better at those skills. So that at the very least, if I ever do want a publisher, it's like, well, I can augment what they're doing myself. I have a foldable phone from 2008. Yeah, not that kind. All right, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that we instantiate the button, but then we want to set things about it, but we can't set the label yet. We could make it so that init doesn't rely on ready. I don't like any of this. All right, well, let's say add button. What am I doing here? I'm taking a skill button base and an ability ID. Except for this is really an action. And we say add button to parent function. And we just call this. All right, that's kind of ugly. Have you been approached by publishers? Oh yeah, a ton of them. And I keep telling them no. And the funniest one, the funniest one was someone joined Discord, the Skeleseller Discord, and I go look at their profile and I see something like, you know, publisher website. And I kind of preempted them, and maybe this was a little bit rude, but I said something like, what am I typing? I said like, hey, like, welcome to the Discord. If you're just looking here because you wanted to publish the game, I'm not looking for a publisher. And they said something like, no, I'm just a fan. And then a few hours later, they left. And I thought, why not just say like, yeah, I was looking to publish the game. And yeah, it's just weird that they'd lie about that. I think you can be a fan and want to publish a game, but they clearly weren't just a fan. This is my first phone. Oh man, you know what phone I had a long time ago? 90s green see-through phone. I wonder, this wasn't a cell phone, but it was this. Did anyone else have this phone? Love this thing. It was a landline phone. Oh, I mean, it was cordless at least. Wow, what a different time. I miss this aesthetic for electronics. The like translucent, colorful plastic. I think even iMacs used to look like that, right? Colorful plastic iMac. Yeah, those ones. Wow. And even what, Game Boy Color had that? Game Boy Color see-through. Yeah. Man, what an era. What an era. Also, what a cool device. I like this a lot. The Pikachu and the starter Pokemon there. Well, Pikachu looks a little weird in this, doesn't he? Does Pikachu have brown right there? What is that? That's not right. Even in this picture, there's no brown there. Is this supposed to be a shadow or something? Huh. My Steam Deck has a translucent shell? Yeah. There are PS1s in color plastic? I don't remember those. PS1's colorful plastic. Maybe I will when I see it. Huh, no, I think everyone I knew who had a PlayStation 1, it was the gray one. But that does look pretty cool. Got that phone before it's made public. Nice, yeah. Remember the PS1 Mini? I was never a PlayStation person, so I've never owned a PlayStation for longer than like a day. Oh, the PS1 Mini was like the Nintendo Mini ones, where it was a re-release many, many, many years later. Okay, that I did know about. Well, I didn't have it. Thought it was so dope at the time, yeah. Man, what a different time. Do it, Caleb. Do it. GameCube had the colors as well. These I do not remember at all. Like, this looks totally foreign to me. All the ones on the bottom I've seen in person too, I think. But I don't think I've seen any of the ones on the top. I don't remember that at all. Nuts. Okay, so we just got to call this function from two different spots. So we do this skill button base dot create, and it takes in a few things. It takes in the abilities component, the ability ID, and then a function that adds it to this. Oh yeah, nice. We can just do that. This is like create, unlock skill button, and add to parent. I think it's fine. Okay, so that looks good. And now we just put the exact same thing in here. So this is going to be the abilities component. This is the ability ID. And this is skill table dot add button. There. Okay. The purple see-through one. The N64 is having colors I remember. And the N64 controllers too. Man, I wonder what I would rate as like the best N64 game for the current era. Because everyone's like top N64 games list, I don't think they've all aged that well. I think Banjo-Kazooie's probably up there. Maybe Diddy Kong Racing. Rare did some really good stuff back in the day. All right, so I think this is working. We will test it out, but I do want to write a comment before we do that. Helper function to create a skill button that is never darkened, or shouldn't basically ever be darkened. Has no cost, so that it should never be darkened. And has no buttons, so that it's just to represent an unlocked ability. Okay. Hey, Sammy. What do you think about bioinformatics, thinking of studying at a university? So, reading between the lines, like, what do I think about it? As a general topic, like, I think it's semi-interesting, I guess. But I think what you're probably asking is, like, what's the viability of it as a major? And the short answer is, I don't know. And I think that it's probably subject to the same sorts of AI concerns that might be floating around in most of tech. But I don't think any of that should necessarily matter, except for your job might get squashed completely. I think what should matter is, like, what's your interest in it? And what do jobs look like? And do you think that would be a good fit? So something to consider too is, are we talking like an undergrad or a graduate degree? Because if it's undergrad, you could always just do computer science and like learn about bioinformatics. And then after doing however many years in that, you could figure out like, all right, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. And that would be a little bit more flexible maybe. Yeah, Ocarina of Time will always be in my memory, but I don't think it held up. Yeah, I don't think it held up. And that's not to say people can't enjoy it. But I think if you show the average gamer today Ocarina of Time today, I don't think they would like it. And I think that holds true for a lot of games and some games that I still enjoy, like Super Metroid, I think is a good game, but I think if you show that to the modern gamer, I think on average they're not going to enjoy it. Or they might only enjoy it with a lot of like hand holding. And this isn't based on nothing, by the way. I've watched a lot of people play Super Metroid. I used to go on Twitch like every single day and just look at who has first playthrough in their title and watch them. And if they were not accepting help from chat, they didn't often have fun playing, I think. It like started out fun. Oh, I've heard a lot of good things about this game. I've kind of seen a little bit of it, but then they'd get frustrated with something or another. Yeah, 1998 it was definitely ahead. I mean, same thing with something like Final Fantasy 7 or StarCraft or Diablo, but yeah, not all. Well, StarCraft staged pretty well, I'd say. Okay, so we want to go into this again. Have you seen the average Roblox game? I'd say Ocarina is on par with that. I haven't, but I've only played Roblox for maybe like 30 minutes or an hour. There was a lot of really terrible stuff I saw in that time in terms of game quality. But I feel like it's a whole different category of game to compare against. Like, I think those games are generally just hobby projects or they're cash grabs. I think that's the general two categories I'd say for Roblox games. It's like someone made this because they wanted to have fun and someone made this because they wanted to make money, and not like someone made this because they wanted to have a good game be out there. I don't think that generally factors in. All right, so this is looking good. And then we go back to this and look over here and it should be the exact same stuff. Cool, 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 cool. And you can't click any of them. All right, so refactor out common code. The graphics don't hold up. Okay, so I think when considering a game, you've got graphics, you got music, you've got sound effects, I guess, you got like story, you got general gameplay, and a whole bunch of other things. I think graphics are sort of unfair for the whole early 3D era because they were very limited by the hardware. And music on some platforms was a little bit limited. Like you could only have so many channels playing at a time. But you still had sort of musical ideas. And with graphics, you still had an art style and consistency within that style. So yeah, I would say that some of these sort of don't hold up because of technological limitations. Gameplay was also sometimes technically limited, but a lot of it just had to do with there was X years of video game history, and now there's X plus 27 years. And in that last 27 years, if you were to go back and make N64 Zelda, you'd make it very differently. And in fact, who's that person? Kaza Emanuar. This person, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but they're making their own Super Mario 64 mod. And like the graphics look better, the expansiveness of the ROM is better, everything else. I haven't tried it. I've only watched their YouTube videos. But that's pretty impressive. So like, and they're probably going to be using some modern game design, so that hopefully that game will feel better. Some games are decently well made. Yeah, I certainly haven't explored a lot of it, so I am speaking just from my very limited experience there. And those games did not seem great that I tried. Okay, 6 perks that can show in the game that I never added icons for. Just search for icon ID. None. Maybe these should be unlocked perks. What? Six. There are more than 6 here. Instant loot? Okay, let's just write down the ones that actually count. Recycler, always hungry, instant loot, instant harvest, impulse buying, employee discount, bountiful harvest, and that's it, right? And I guess technically different adventurer limits. I was unsub for a few hours. Thanks for the resubs, Athletics. That'll be quarter of a year. Thanks for being here. I'd remake Ocarina of Time as a personal project in Godot. Don't want Nintendo to come attack me. Yeah, I think if you're making any personal project and you're really truly not putting it out there at all, like Nintendo wouldn't even know about it to attack you. And I always kind of like, I get why people make fan projects like that. Like they make their own Mario knockoff. And it's because you will have an attached player base to Mario before you've even tried marketing your game. So how many people have tried remaking Zelda in the newest engine at the time? And you see this happening in other games too, like Turtle WoW's trying to make their own World of Warcraft client in Unreal. So I get why people do that. It's for the player base, but you have almost no chance of monetizing it. And it just feels like, why put in years of work sometimes just to have your project get a cease and desist and then eventually potentially like a lawsuit against it? I'd call it a win if Nintendo ever noticed my own project to feel the need to shut it down. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a win in terms of recognition, but it's a loss in terms of just dev time. I got taken over by Gen Alpha and tanked. To pick and choose, yeah. Yeah, so we should manifest icon IDs for all of these. And I wrote maybe these should be unlocked perks. Why did I? Oh, I see what I meant by that. To allow these to show up in a run. They're all generated to, no, they're not. This is generated. And that's it. So we need to make a new class of perk if we want to do that. I think it all depends on what's going to be in the base game. So how about this? For now, I'll change this a bit. I don't want them to be unlocked for 2 reasons for now. I don't know what's going to be in story mode. We should do an audit later. Yeah. Once I do know, we can probably make any new perks be unlockables. And what's the other thing? There's another reason for this. Oh yeah, I would need to make another class, like meta perk granting perk, since we otherwise wouldn't have an easy way of rendering that you can now get the perk. We had that already at some point. I'll file an issue for this. Audit which perks should be unlockable versus default. So for example, instant loot is something that you can get by default in bone mode, but it's not something that shows up in story mode. I think any brand new perks, any perks that are exclusive to bone mode should probably require beating enough runs for the player to unlock them. That way you have a chance to read them over and you're not as overwhelmed. As of this date, I've seen new players to bone mode sort of rush through everything. R key is double typing a lot. Sort of rush through everything and then not read the new perks in order to make it so that a perk can be unlocked. I guess currently the only perks that can be unlocked are generated abilities. We would need to bring back meta perk granting perk, I think, so that we can pass in data, so that we can have a different tooltip. It shouldn't even involve looking back in the Git history. Just make a new ability that inherits from player ability, but passes in data that says which perk to unlock. When I watch my youngest, wait, not even says which perk to unlock. Hang on a second. This tooltip is gonna see this. And maybe this. When I watch my youngest relatives play Roblox, I get quite sad. To me, it and similar platforms represented the continuation of the glorious user-generated content eras of games like Warcraft 3, Flash games. But given the monetary incentive, it's now some abomination aimed to get kids hooked in the worst ways, yeah. Yeah, and to some extent, that's actually quite a benefit of a platform like Roblox. Like, not only can you make games and you get all this stuff for free, like player cosmetics and networking and an engine, but you can also make money off of it. It is sort of funny to think that Roblox is like kind of sort of like Steam in that sense. They're both game platforms. And yet Steam has wildly different incentives. They want to push, well, they still want to push games and make money. Maybe it's not Steam that has different incentives. Maybe it's Steam players as a community just value different things. Whereas for Roblox, it's like, where can I spend my $5 I was given? All right, I want to file this here. So we just need to manifest icons for these. And where are they? They're here. Okay. Recycler, always hungry. So I got to get pictures for all of these then, right? Do I want to keep this in the game? What do you recommend for a first game to learn? I recommend this list. And what it recommends is Pong. And I think Pong is a great first game to make because it's very little rendering. You have like 5 things, if that, on the screen. A couple of paddles, a score, maybe a middle line. It's got very little input. You press up or you press down, and maybe you got like spacebar to start a game. And you've still got some game logic, but it's very straightforward. And even graphics, you could just draw them all yourselves. They're a rectangle and a square. So Pong is great to just get your feet wet and figure out, do I like game dev? How do I put anything on the screen? How do I handle input? And then from there, they start branching out. Like Flappy Bird is what's next. I think that's probably pretty reasonable. Breakout's next. Yeah, it's probably pretty reasonable. Then they start getting into more advanced, like Jetpack Joyride as a game right now is a very, very high scope game. They put it as 2 stars. But like Jetpack Joyride has a lot in it. But the concept of the game is actually not too crazy. And yeah, I don't know how many people go through this and get to like Star Fox and they're like, yeah, let's go make Star Fox. I think if you're going to tackle a game of that complexity and scope, you might as well make something you can actually sell afterward. So I don't suggest doing this for more than probably like 5 or 6 games. Is WoW the last game? The last game here is Portal. And again, I just wouldn't do this if I were learning how to make games for the first time. This to me is more like it's a puzzle of how do you solve the Portal mechanic. I think making a first-person shooter at some point is probably interesting to have on the list, but it doesn't need to be Portal. It could have been like Doom or GoldenEye or something. All right, so ideally I can take a picture of these things in the game. Let's go to town generator, and let's get all of these. Okay, so always hungry. Let's just comment everything out. And then comment the ones back in that I want. Always hungry. Instant harvest. This. That. Employee discount. Bountiful harvest. That's already there. What do I miss then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I get all those? Oh, I did get all those. Okay, and then different adventure limits. That's down there. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I remember what Hef was talking about with other user-generated content. I think StarCraft was the first game I played that allowed you to customize it somehow. And back then there were the use map settings maps. And people made things like turret defense and some like hero battles and marine wars and all sorts of different kinds of games. And again, it was like, hey, you have all the rendering handled for you. You have multiplayer handled for you. You have sounds and music and stuff handled for you. And you can still use your imagination and come up with things. And I thought that was really, really cool. I think Minecraft is really interesting as a platform as well. And I think it taps into this whole like there's an infinite world. There's a lot of creativity you can apply. And there's no shortage of Minecraft mods out there. Hey, Meridio. All right, so we're going to do the same thing we always do here. We're going to get a bunch of pictures. Yeah. So impulse buying. Oh, I should probably build everything first, huh? There. Okay, art requests. Yeah, I guess I'll add some more in here. So is this one impulse buying? All right, so pick that one. Move on to the next one. Instant harvest. I guess employee discount. Employee discount. Why is this weird? There we go. right, so we're on that one too. Let's get all the levels of that whenever it shows up. Auto fishing. Why is that there? Oh, because I didn't do this right. Yeah, free guild supplies we already have. Okay, power leveling. Is that already on this? Power leveling, yeah. Instant loot. Okay, what else? Instant harvest. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 3 more. Bountiful harvest is one of them. So now I need 2 more. There's 1. Yeah, I'm always hungry. And now I need 1 more, and it's different adventure limits, and that one's very, very rare. So it's probably going to be toward the end. What is this called? I'm always hungry. So once we pick everything else, it's forced to show up. Yeah, there it is. It's probably just be called more adventurers at this point. Yeah. Probably rename this to more adventurers. But it'll have the same effect. Warcraft 3 Battle.net custom games. Yeah, I did a lot of that too. I thought it was very cool. Well, I also felt it was a little bit unwieldy. They exposed scripting, whereas StarCraft didn't. But the scripting I remember being like really confusing. I don't remember the API documentation for that. So you'd have to stick to like events and conditions and actions. And there were quirks of the system too. But yeah, overall it worked pretty well. I mean, it spawned an entire genre, Dota. I wonder what else came out of that. Because I would say, I don't know if tower defense had existed before StarCraft. It probably did. But I remember being very popular in StarCraft. And that became its own entire genre of game. All right, so now that we've written these things here, I've got to go manifest icon IDs for all of them. Yeah, so I guess let's just copy paste them all in here. And just not even rename them. Okay. Warcraft 2, it was close. Okay, yeah. I didn't realize Warcraft 2 even let people make their own maps. All right, now we go into all of these. Recycler, always hungry. We manifest the right icons. Recycler. So that one's done. Instant loot. This is instant loot. Instant harvest. Impulse buying. Employee discount. We only have like 3 more of these. Bountiful harvest. And different adventure limits. Okay, now we go find icons that are kind of sort of close to these that we can copy paste. So different adventure limits. Let's take max customers. This one is max customers. What does that look like? All icon data, max customers.svg. Okay, let's go into here. Max customers. I'm going to call this different adventurer limits.svg. Okay, so that one's done. So now bountiful harvest. Let's do crop variety. Where's that? What is it called? It's called crops. Okay, so this is crops.svg. Crops.svg is going to be bountiful harvest. You know how we can make this a lot easier for ourselves? Check this out. Just select them all and go to snake case. Except for, I didn't mean for snake case. I meant for the one that has hyphens, which I'll just change it myself. All right, employee discount. What should that one look like? What icon resembles that? How do we do this again? Like this? Yeah, nice. So we're just looking for something that's close enough for right now to employee discount. Let's go with that. Open palm. Open palm.svg to employee discount. We can put the SVG at the end of all of these. All right, impulse buying. Maybe it's just the same thing. Are we using the same icon for two of these? Sword brandish and open palm are the same. Yeah, wow. All right, I'll write that down. Sword brandish.svg and open palm.svg are the same icon, I think. What am I trying to come up with? Impulse buying? Yeah, let's just use the same thing, open palm. Did I make the art myself? No, I have not. Winter Mall? Is that the 12-player map? Oh, wait, was that the name of a... I don't know, that was the name of the thing. Okay, got it. There was some gigantic Warcraft 3 map that was on one of the wintry tile sets. I don't remember what it was called. I never really knew map names. I was watching a StarCraft match the other day, and someone mentioned Sunken Temple. Was it Sunken Temple? Oh, I don't even remember anymore. StarCraft Temple map. Lost Temple, Lost Temple. They mentioned Lost Temple, and I was like, oh my, I didn't even think about that in forever. It was this map, I think. And I think they remade it in StarCraft 2 as well. Winter Spring? Maybe it was, yeah. Oh, I never thought about that. I know that was in World of Warcraft. Yeah, I think I played this. And hey, Elrath. Primitive copy protection stuff that was prevalent in Warcraft 3 map making. People would write code to strip all metadata they could. Funny. All right, so what haven't we done yet? We stopped at impulse buying. So we need instant harvest. Instant harvest. Maybe that'll look like harvesting efficiency. Yeah. Oops, I have Winter Mall on my clipboard. How's that possible? I copied this. Huh, strange. Whoops. Okay, then instant loot. So what do we use for that one? Probably just another random treasure chest thing. Unless there are a bunch of items somewhere. Oh, that's probably why we have sword brandish and open palm. Maybe sword brandish was supposed to be... No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. Do we have a bunch of items somewhere? Item stacking? Let's do it. Sure. Like I said, we just need things that are good enough for right now. And then recycler always hungry. CP. We should just take the happy looking garbage slime one. Where is that? Hello, happy looking garbage slime. That one's not bad. Yeah, let's take that. Sure. Okay, so now we go get all of these things. We should have 7 of them. We do. And we make these into... What case is it that has hyphens? I guess I don't really need to know what it is. Transform to... Kebab? Yeah, nice, kebab. And then we undo all of that. Oh man. All right, so here's what we do now. We do this, copy that, and then turn this back into title case. And just delete the hyphens. Let's do that. And then we manifest all of these into all icon data. So I put these here and do icon ID dot equals $ a bill icon slash, and then just delete the triple commas and alphabetize everything. Okay. I think we're good. There's this funny thing when I go back and play games that I remember certain levels or certain worlds, and I think back fondly on them because I don't think of all the tedium that goes along with them. I've talked about this with Super Mario 64. It's like the very first worlds like 1 through 4 are just fun. It's like the stars are short, they're like colorful, they're sort of interesting. Then they get to be a little bit more frustrating, they're longer, they're more difficult. And I think it's the same thing. Like I think back at World of Warcraft, and I think of a zone like Winter Spring. It's like it's not particularly beautiful or anything, but at first I'm like, oh yeah, I remember questing there or doing something, and then I get to the zone and I'm like, God, this is like super spread out. It takes forever to get from that quest giver to like the turning point, and the town's in the middle of nowhere and whatever else. I guess it's not really anything special. It's just rose tinted glasses. All right, so now we should see no. Can I continue this? We should see no Atom Art icons. Yeah, I think that'll help. So if I get the remaining ones of these, yeah, okay, cool. I just got pinged in the support channel on our work Discord and I ignored it. I also give you these bonus points. Good job. Okay, so all we've really done here is add a whole bunch of icons that already existed. And manifested them. And we can't keep this. Town perk choice generator should be reverted. But everything else can stay the same, right? Yep. Cool. So manifest missing icons. Yeah, that task took a pretty long time for what I needed to do. But it's done now. All right, so let's delete everything from the list. Let's archive it all. Just put it down here. Why are those sounds happening right now? Like what? How, are they getting loot somehow? Oh yeah, because of the guild supplies. Every 30 seconds, it's putting guild supplies into here. Yeah, and then they bring it to the guild. I'm like, why are sounds happening if there's nothing going on in the game? And then they make a ping sound. Yeah, so just quit the game. All right, you ready? Ready for this? Word count. We have significantly dropped in character count here. I don't know how it got that low. Well, let's write this down. Finished skill stuff and got back to the general to this. Oh yeah, because we moved all the new perk stuff out. Ended the morning with this many characters. So remember when we started this, we had 15,035 characters. And it's not This is not like a super accurate science or anything, but we are now at 76% of the original to-do list. So if we got done with 25% in, what was it, like roughly 2 days, then it should take another 6 days at this rate to finish the list. Start getting paranoid that stuff was deleted without actually completing them. I mean, it is true. There is add more content, and I just deferred that until later. What time is it? 11:42. Learn a new word today? What is it? All right, bug. Spirit Caller's summons are missing a sliver of health. This was in challenge mode. I think Battle Perks may have done it. Should be able to set up the stats from this picture to find the issue. This is so weird. It's so weird. I want to see if this is still happening. Something which cracks eggs. Huh, okay. Pareto principle doesn't hold here. 100% of those takes 200% of the time. What was I doing? I needed to test something. Oh yeah, the Spirit Caller. Just make a new anything. And unlock all the adventurers and go start a battle with a Spirit Caller. And expand this and see what in the world's going on. So the snake has a normal amount of life here. But I don't have the same stats as in this picture. Health is 232. Like, is that the problem? That it's a weird number? If so, actually, I think I understand what's doing this, and then it's not gonna be that hard. So let's just go change their stats. All adventurer data, Spirit Caller. Spirit Caller's health is set to this. So let's just set this as 0, and let's set base life value to 232. And that should do it for us, right? So I save this and I quit. Bricks keep hitting larger. The thing is, we have essentially 3 massive to-do lists right now. We have the current one that I'm working on that's at whatever it was, 11,000 characters. We have the main one that you all have access to in the Today document. And then we have all the ones on GitHub. WoW Classic. I played a lot of WoW Classic. I think it's at the point now where if I'm not playing with people I know, that it feels very hollow. I never liked the end game of WoW. And the reason why I never liked it is because it takes 40 players. I am totally fine with 5-player groups. But even these eventually evaporate because people don't need the stuff from the 5-player things anymore. So even though you can do them and there are enough people who I guess could technically do them, they don't want to do them because they're doing the 40-player content. So I've always hated that stuff. And as a result, it's like, okay, well, the level 1 to 60 takes you like 4 days worth of playtime. Is it worth putting in that amount of time to get to 60 and be like, oh, now I stop playing? So the motivation to play has dwindled and dwindled with every new change or new release. It's not really new, I guess. The one thing that affected it was Season of Discovery, where they started changing some mechanics, and I thought it was pretty fun. Ilgo Dev. This apparently is changing Ilgo Dev. They in modern WoW, I think they either did or they're currently trying to remove what add-ons have access to. Because apparently that's what happened is fights got super complicated and people would just write an add-on that's like, move left now. So that all you're really doing is following basic instructions. And it's like, is that what dungeoneering should be? I enjoy the feeling of working together toward a goal, but admittedly the upkeep of keeping a solid 40-man capable guild alive becomes a second job very quickly. Yeah, I just don't like it. And also the way it worked in WoW Classic is you do an entire raid, it'd take you like 3 hours and you get 1 piece of loot. And it's like, I'd rather do a group, it takes maybe an hour, you might get some loot, but it's not going to be some like weird politics thing or something. Fellowship, dungeon running only, no open world stuff. Game, what is this? Multiplayer online dungeon adventure. I don't mind open world stuff. I think what I mind is when content requires too many people. Because even in Season of Discovery, which I liked, there were I think like 5 or 7 phases of it, and phases 1 and 2 had a max of 10 people. I think it was 10 was okay. I could put together a group of 9 other people, just random strangers. Then they started requiring 20 people, and I'm like, I'm not going to go find 19 people and like corral them all to a location and lead them and whatever else. It's like that was too much. Anyway, I restarted this, right? So I can continue the game. Now I should have 232 health. Do I? Yes. So now if I start a battle with that, does this bug happen? It does. Yeah, look at that. They've got a little sliver of their life missing. You see that red right there? So what I think is happening is this. The spirit caller has some, I don't even know where to find this. There's some like, their summons only have a certain amount of life. Maybe if I search for snake spirit, I can find it. Summon spirit. Summon spirit. Here it is. Set their life. We just multiply it. So this is this a long? Is this a float? It's a float. So I think that's the problem here. We have a floating point life value. We should probably just do like math.ceiling on this and probably fix it. Although maybe what we really should do is just prevent life bars from rendering that way. Because it shouldn't really matter how much life they have. Oh my god, math app doesn't have ceiling. It's called seal here? Okay, whatever. I don't know. All right, so this will happen. We're battling other guilds for server first. Yeah, interesting. Huh. Yeah, it kind of makes me, a lot of this reminds me of Dungeons and Dragons. So I played for a bit and I didn't like it at all. Like it was slow. I'm bad at acting. My friends weren't so great at acting either in general. And so yeah, I didn't like D&D, but the concept of creating a world for others to like play in, I like that idea, and that's pretty much what game development is. So Dungeons and Dragons is like, it's not quite game dev, it's more like scenario development. And to me, and I'm not judging the people who do this, but if you're making a scenario for just your friends, you're pouring in tons and tons of time, and then that's it. The scenario's done, or your friends no longer play, or you've all moved apart, or something like that. And then it's like poof, there goes all the work you put in, all the stories, and something about that is appealing. It's like it was an experience that just that group shared, and then some part of it just feels like it's almost sad that you couldn't replicate it for other people. Yeah. I think I think like AI influenced D&D would be probably pretty interesting if this got better. Imagine a dungeon master who was, I mean, just an AI, but they still could talk to you with a synthesized voice and explain what happened or what's going on. I think that would probably revolutionize the game for a lot of people. I think people would probably also be resistant to it and want the human element. But for the people who don't want the human element, like sometimes I like playing a video game because there's a bunch of number crunching that you don't have to do. It's like I've been playing the Slay the Spire board game, and there's a lot of like, okay, how do the rules work? How do we resolve this thing? Now we have to look it up online. It takes you out of the game. So my guess is this is now fixed. This could also, yeah, this is fixed. But we could have changed just how this renders, right? There's no red in here. Yeah, we could change how it renders. So there's a life bar. And how do we render this? At some point, we need to divide by max life. So let's just search for max life. What? Yeah, what? Do we search for a value? Here it is. So it's a health component on life. Oh, is this not a floating point number? It's a double. No, that should work. What? Hold on a second. Let me try to figure out what's actually going on here. So I'm going to put a breakpoint there. We're going to restart this. Actually, we're just going to reload, I guess. So what is this number? 23.2. So you have 23.2 life. So if I go into life bar and we set the maximum to 23.2, there's no red showing there. So something must be wrong in this code, right? Strange. Strange. Huh. Okay, I'm curious. I know this is pointless. I'm definitely going to be wasting time on this if I do this, but I want to find out what's causing the sliver of red to show up here when we have 23.2 life. So let's undo this and let's set everyone's life to 23.2. And that should make it pretty easy to figure out what's going wrong. So where do we make your health component? Somewhere we set up a life bar. There it is. Life bar. And we initialize it with a health component. And we have all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say health component dot max life equals 23.2. And health component dot life equals 23.2. Okay, what gives? Do I use the animation tree at all? I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't. We use the animation system though. Okay. So now we should be able to play with any adventurer and see this happen. However, the spirit caller summons are immune to damage at first, so it makes sense to still try with them. So yes, there's the issue. Now, how do we find out what's going on there? I guess let's put a breakpoint here. Yeah, the new character portraits are in. They're looking great. Very, very happy with those. So if I start a battle with, yeah, sure, whatever. Even the rogue, right? This should happen immediately. I'm going to skip this for a sec because for the 2 seconds leading up to this, we should be able to see a sliver of health missing. Yeah. So that red right there is their health missing. And we should see that on the bat as well, although we only have 0.2 seconds for that. So I guess let's change the party to this, and it should be very obvious at first. I'm going to take a picture. Good. Yes, and you can see it right there. So sliver of health missing and sliver of health missing. And we are going to get to the bottom of this. So what is going on in the code over here? Range dot value. Max value. What is this? A double? Yeah, a double. Do we keep track of ints somewhere? Animation wait time, that's it. That should be fine. Weird. What does health change do? Actual life dot value equals health component dot life. So actual life needs the same max value that the others have, right? We do that. But we don't do that here. Maybe because it's not inside the tree yet. Oh my God, if that's the problem, then this is going to be very silly. All right, so the value of this is what, 23.3 or 23.2? 23.2 and some change, but every time we convert a float to a double, that would probably have happened. So now what? Is this false? No, it's true. And we set this, and this should have the same value. It doesn't. Oh, what? What? Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm actually baffled at this. We have this right here. This is a double. And then we have this. This is a double. And we're setting them to the same value, 23.2. And in one case, it gets set to this. And in the other case, it gets set to something different. Converting a floating point to a double should be deterministic, right? Like it should always be this funky number here. Why wouldn't it be? Maybe their maximums are different? Animated life dot max value and actual life. No, they're exactly the same number. What? I don't have an explanation for this. Are they the same type of thing? Texture progress bar. Texture progress bar. Oh, that's very weird. Expected expression, why? Oh, because I had a space or something? Value set to 23. No, something's wrong. Something's... Yeah. I didn't even notice this the first time for some reason. It's not... The 0.2 is missing. Okay, that's the real problem. So something is rounding this for one of these and not for something else. Okay, yeah, my bad. So let's search for math dots. Nope, math f dot. No, none of that. I, what's this? Health component dot life is 23.2. And I set actual life to that, and it gets set to something bizarre. What? Is it because of the step? Is there some like increment? Step is 1. Oh my God, that's a problem. Oh. Okay, I understand now what's going on. This is not some weird C# thing. There's a step that you can set inside of a life bar. So let's say you have 1 to 100 as your life. You could set the step to 1 and you'll see it in 1% increments. I guess 0 to 100. But let's say you've got life going from, or some value going from like 5 to 5.5. You still want a bar to get rendered. But if you set your step to 1, each little increment would have to be a minimum of 1, which your whole bar doesn't go in across a value of 1. It's only going to half. So you probably set your step to something like 0.01, for example. In fact, what is the documentation for step? Greater than 0, value will always be rounded to a multiple of this. Yeah. So we just need these to have the same steps. And this step is set to 0. What does it mean if it's 0? Huh. I don't know what it means if it's 0. But yeah, I think if we just set this to 0, everything will be fine. What a crazy problem. I can't believe I just never... I thought it'd be something more complicated, I guess. So we start up a game and we start a battle, and I'm guessing we're just going to see green. It'll be fixed now. Oops. Okay, hold on. I didn't mean to have a breakpoint there. This is probably going to look stupid. Nope, yep, it's working. Just green. Cool. Cool. Wonder if you could have gone to value and have seen it in the setter. Yeah, we should have been able to. Well, we'd have to dive into this. This is probably, yeah, this is native code. So never mind, we couldn't have. Godot itself handles this. Okay, so all I need to do is revert this. No, not even revert that. Revert this. So all we did was we changed the step. Very, very interesting problem. And a very elegant solution in that it's one line. Fix problem with life bars. Some characters can have decimal max life values, e.g. the spirit caller's summons. The problem is that actual life had a step of 1, the default step of 1, meaning it couldn't represent fractional life values. This would typically have been impossible to notice, except when at 100% life, where a tiny red sliver would show. Which was especially obvious for the Spirit Caller summons because they're not supposed to take damage. So if you saw this in the middle of a battle in any video game and you had no idea what led there, you'd be like, oh, this character took some damage, right? And that's a pretty reasonable conclusion. But if you know that the character is immune to damage, that is not a reasonable conclusion anymore. And especially when you start a battle, it'd be confusing. All right, well, it's fixed now. Done. All right, just out of curiosity, how many characters is that? 212, nice. All right, have summons inherit the special stats. Yeah, this is a gigantic change. In fact, this might break the game to some extent, and we need to do some planning around this. So I think it's lunchtime. I think we should do this in the afternoon. We have, well, we're getting through the to-do list. We are making progress. I guess we can delete that text too. Yeah. All right, so figure out how we want to do this. And then the Spirit Caller has an ability that gives haste to summons. It's probably pointless now. Kind of sad. This is crunch time. It's not really crunch time because I feel like crunch time is for when you have a deadline. This is really just like to do destruction. Yeah. And I'd like to do another release on Friday. Do another release, question mark? Maybe share another save file with Plum Yeti. Brick breaking, that is right. Yeah, no, this was very, very productive though. And just to, I guess it's kind of hard to show all of the changes because I forgot what some of them are. And it's hard to demo something you don't remember. But let me see if I can look at this really quickly and find out what did we change that's not in the build yet. Yeah, it's nothing's like super interesting, I guess. Yeah, there are a lot of bugs. There's a lot of small quality of life things. The weapon grinder is now actually an armor grinder. So if I continue the game over here, and then we click show signs. Yeah, so this is here, so that now keys only have to go that far. Wonder if this is going to make people want there to be a path right here. What if the haste pet just amplified buffed characters? Ridiculously strong builds. Yeah, we got to figure out what we're doing to not totally break everything. The thing I was saying earlier is that the Spirit Caller has this. Your spirits use their abilities more frequently. This is just haste. But haste doesn't exist in story mode, or at least only from the cleric, I think. So really, it's just like, yeah, if they're paired with a cleric, then fine. I guess they'll sort of get this anyway. But it definitely exists in bone mode. And getting a 7% cooldown reduction when you might have 50% haste feels like you're getting almost nothing. So I almost wonder, maybe we should change Spirit Command entirely and just say, like, your spirits inherit more of your haste ability. Maybe change, what's it called? Spirit Command. To say your spirits inherit more of your haste. I don't really like that. We'll think about this later, though. Yeah, I'm gonna go get lunch for now. So for those who have not seen this sort of thing happen, I'm gonna go for about an hour, and then when we come back, it'll be a new stream, and I'll probably stream for another. It's been almost 4 hours actually. I'll probably stream for like 2 to 2.5 hours. So I hope you've all enjoyed. If you haven't tried Skeleseller yet, I do highly recommend trying the demo. It's on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So you can play it on pretty much anything. It doesn't really have great controller support, so Steam Deck wouldn't be the best experience. But yeah, do check it out if you haven't. And if you'd like to join Discord, there is a link. I will hopefully see you all in the afternoon. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.